Yeah, I timed that very poorly. I have a burp stuck in my mouth. Fuck.
This is good. This is good. Just do it. Just do it.
Hold on.
Just do it, pussy. Just fucking borp all over the fucking thing. Get that woolly
It's stuck.
smell on it.
It's stuck.
Oh, it's
this sucks.
stuck? Oh
It's
no.
I was
Just hit yourself in the stomach as hard as you can.
I felt it. I felt it bubbling a little bit before, and as the intro was going, I was like, okay, whatever. And then I was
Hold
like,
on,
oh, no,
I'll
it won't come out.
carbonate. That'll solve my burp.
That's actually what I'm about to do right now.
Yeah, he's gonna carbonate,
Mhm.
ladies and gentlemen. I'm also gonna carbonate.
The sparkling water will do it.
Hey, Wooly, you worked in video game stuff, right? And you ostensibly talk about video games now and then.
Allegedly.
Hey, what the fuck is an indie game? I've been thinking about this for weeks, man, and I'm just gonna no, I want to have this discussion.
Spiritually, or yeah, okay. An indie game is a game that has 8-bit music and looks like an old Nintendo game.
Dude, this is like so I mentioned this because Dave the Diver is up for
a TGA
best indie at the TGAs, despite the fact that it's a fucking Nexon game, which is the largest publisher of video games, one of the biggest in the world. It's definitely the biggest in Korea. Geoff Keighley put out a statement today going, well, it was made by a small team, so it's indie. And it's just like, and I was thinking about it. I was like, the whole word is so stupid bullshit. It's from the 90s.
Excuse me. There it is. Got it out. All right.
Oh, fucking great. Let's go.
The entire video game thing sucks at language, at words, at brackets, at genres, because all of our categorizations are just things that people kind of started saying one day that caught on. And I feel like EGM, GamePro, and gaming magazines of the early years started a lot of them with their categories in the magazines. But like none of those actual, like a bunch of them just, as we always say, like action adventure, hack and slash, what, like none of these things actually mean things. And so you just kind of like go, all right, even and to the point where I've obviously talked about like fighting games with this, but like it's just, where does the broad definition start and where does it end? You know, with indie games, if a large publisher spends a small amount of money on a game, does that then make it indie because of the budget? It's there's so many different vectors of attack here, and it's all just like it's whatever we kind of spiritually feel like is a small thing. Like a mom and pop shop. What stretches the definition of a mom and pop shop if a mom and pop starts expanding, gets multiple chains out, and
like Wooly? So this will hit Wooly pretty hard, but it won't do much for most of you. Is Shea Cora a mom and pop breakfast place?
I mean,
it got started by old Grandma Cora in Quebec, but there's like 15 locations.
Yeah, like it might at one point perhaps, but where does that fuzzy line, transition into like it's no longer that? Because yeah, absolutely, there's a ton of shit like that where like this local business gets really booming, and then they start opening more.
Before more complaining happens, I would like to go through the traditional definition of what an independent game was in games, and it was derived from independent film. An independent film is a film that is being made outside of the major studios. In games, an independent game was a game that was self-published or did not need to go through a larger publisher, because it used to be back when you had to get carts and CDs out. You went, that's a huge upfront cost, and okay, we're going to make our game, but we're going to need Activision or EA or Nintendo or somebody to take the hit, and then they'll probably own our game and the IP and all the rights to it, right? But now we live in the internet. We live in the internet world. Like fucking... If you follow that definition of an independent game, Fortnite and Baldur's Gate coming in this year for best indie game.
So here's the problem. So self-publishing is a definition, but obviously there's things that break that on each end. Yeah, Baldur's Gate is technically self-published, right? It also gets further muddied because while PC games would just come out and it's on computer, play it, boot it, whatever. There was the point when we hit the Xbox 360 and PlayStation 3 eras of there is an actual place you can go for smaller games, and when you'd submit, like in QA, when you'd submit your game, you could either submit a full-fledged title or a smaller title, whether that's an XBLA title or an eShop title for Nintendo or a PSN title. Like, these are all a separate category that you actually had to pick and choose for your game. Now, when Ubisoft put out XBLA titles, that's not an indie game, but it's still within the smaller category. And then there's actually XBlig, which was legitimately completely
it's like you had stuff like Castle Crashers, made by a small development studio that was published through Microsoft via the XBLA program, and that's an indie game in the same way that Alan Wake's American Nightmare and fucking Street Fighter 2 are indie games.
So you can't say self-published cannot be the metric that is used, right? All of these things don't work when you handcuff the term indie to it, unfortunately. I think everyone can look at Braid and be like, oh, there's a little short self-published thing.
Oh man, you gotta drink, what was it? You gotta get drunk and drink that magic potion and it goes backwards.
And then whoop, and then Soulja Boy makes fun of it. But
it makes me really happy that Jonathan Blow is like damaged by that video. Do you know that?
Soulja Boy. I've heard something about this.
He is like struck with despair over the idea of people playing Braid and going, "Wow, I'm jumping."
Just you gotta envision every audience when you design your game. You gotta envision the people that are playing it with their 100% focus, and then you gotta envision people in a loud party not giving a fuck. Anyway, the definition of indie, yeah. So when you look at Dave the Diver, I saw the trailer for it and I was like, oh, that thing looks cool. Look at this fishing and then cool diving and stuff.
I played it on my show.
And I had no idea what the development process was or what the funding was for it. Certainly, I just saw the look of it, and the look is aesthetically something that usually would be indie. So I just assumed it was.
Yeah, and then like I think the director of that game was like, yeah, it looks indie, but I don't think it is because we're owned by Nexon. Like, even they're like, I don't think maybe we belong as an indie game. We need to get rid of that whole category. We need to get the whole thing is stupid.
And even you can't put a budget limiter down either, because games will, at some point, if you add extra campaigns, if you build it out, if marketing gets added, that a short mini Prince of Persia title, it might, again, it's still an Ubi game that might be marketed in that way. So it's like you can't use really that metric either. Team size can be variable. Obviously, Supergiant has a completely unusual way of developing their games that it uses the smallest possible team size and just puts a whole tail end to their development. I don't know, man. If you get rid of it, it's like, okay, but what's the differentiator?
And then I get to I'm like
tiny
searching
games
for fringe cases, and I'm like, what about a Kickstarter game? That's independent, right? Because it's independently funded. But what about a Kickstarter game like Pillars of Eternity 2, which was kickstarted on Fig, which included investment support, which included the fact that Kickstarter was a interest test so that the real publisher, Paradox Interactive, would give them the remainder of the money to make. So who made
or Shenmue 3, right? Or this is actually news for this week, Pour One Out. But it's not really Pour One Out so much, but I think so. Them's Fighting Herds is they're pretty much stopping their development.
They saw the rollback announcement coming for DBZ, and they're like, it's time to leave.
It's over. Yeah, no. So, but I mean, like I think it's just like the further content that they were planning for that, including story mode. They're basically canceling. They can't continue to work on it. But that was a case of an indie game that then went to crowdfunding and then got picked up by a publisher. So there's a transition that occurs when a publisher steps in to fund things. It just gets so messy. These labels get weird.
I was just reminded
awesome
of another
game,
part of it.
Fucking everyone check that out. It's good shit.
I was just reminded of another part of this discussion, which you would be extremely personally familiar with, Wooly. Hey, this game, because people have said, well, why don't you just change it to team size, right? How many, like, sub 50 people worked on this game? That counts, right? Sub 25. And then my brain goes, hey, Wooly, how many small games have you not worked on in teams of hundreds
this
with
game
other QA?
This game was made by 8 people, and then one logo scrolls by on the credits, and that one logo is a folder that contains 80. Like, there's 80 names in a little bracket, and it just says Babel. Don't worry about it. It's gone. VMC, Volt. Don't think about it. It's just a little logo. It's like a codec, right? Like yeah, sure, no problem.
Like Ubisoft,
yeah,
I'm sure for Child of Light, there's like a team of like 25 people, and then it says, and with support from the following, and it's a bunch of logos for the Ubisoft farms of 600 fucking people.
It just and then like I said, Supergiant, like when they made Hades, they had the tiniest team rotating over the smallest, in a small group over a long period of time. So they were working on other things, and they had the Hades team that would be like, okay, a couple people here, they're doing their thing, and like that was how they developed it, as opposed to full team, full force. It's even team size as a metric is not really reliable. I don't know what you could really say, but I think this is a problem with video games.
Small games for babies. No,
look.
Can we go like purchase price?
Here's the problem
best game
as well.
Under $20.
The other problem with this is that we as human beings need to categorize. We're obsessed with it.
We need to. The Game Awards is going to be a big celebration because people want to put things in the little boxes.
We have to put things in their boxes. It can't not go in a box. It must be there. Genre. I just fucking... yeah, indie games is a vibe, all right? It's a vibe check.
But it's fucking... Man!
It's a vibe check. If you think about it and you go, yeah, that's an indie game. It's an absolute vibe check, bro. Sifu, that is you fighting it. That's it, man. That's it. It's just.
I think getting mad about categories and nominations is way more fun than celebrating the winners at any award show. I think there's so much here.
What is a video game where you do not play a role? Tetris. Like it's stupid. It's stupid.
I just saw someone in chat mentioned, and Monster Hunter has been nominated for RPG of the Year every year a Monster Hunter game comes out. Those aren't RPG.
Damage numbers. That's it. Yeah, look, it's always, this is TGA discourse.
Oh, I love it. I love it.
It's so meaningless. It's so utterly meaningless.
I love it.
Oh God. Well, look, at least this time around, however people feel about it, there will be security to actually stop people from getting up on stage and rushing it, apparently, because 2 to 3 in a row is not enough.
All they need is like 3 tall well-built guys to just be on the periphery, because that weeds out everybody who wants to run up there as a goof.
But okay, but I don't know, Pat. I don't know if you had this. Did you? I don't know if you had the same reaction I did upon reading this news. But I read it and I was kind of like, there goes some content. It's like it's good for the safety of FromSoft and all, but there goes some good bits.
Here's what I thought. I'm like, well, that means we're gonna lose out on random dumb kid running up, but we've increased the chance. So that's gone from 100% to 0% because people, copycat, and every time it happens, it's more likely to happen. But we've now increased the chance above 0% of a fracas, of a tumble,
a little tussle off camera,
of a row occurring on the steps to walk up.
Okay, there we go. Yeah. And you're gonna have to get your camera team to be more on point for cutting away from the right angles and just a little bit of what's going on over there? Yeah. That's true. I just kind of like, you hear that it's like, it's every, like, you hear that there's the back-to-back fucking stage crashing moments, and then they go, okay, we're increasing security, and yeah, it's I don't know if it's a little bit like that the dolphin in the tuna bit, where it's just like, yeah, it's got no dolphin in it, but like, maybe.
Well,
maybe
I don't want to have
good.
Dolphin in my tuna. I don't care if
maybe
it makes me smarter.
Maybe it's a little bit of hockey NHL rules, like
we talked about it.
Let a little bit of it go down,
but it is fairly shocking that they held these huge events with all these known people with literally no precautions of any kind whatsoever.
Yeah.
Isn't that's kind of weird?
And this was the same time that it's also getting up in status. So you're having the likes of, fucking Nick Cage showing up backstage, and obviously Keanu Reeves and stuff. It's like they're getting higher and higher profile people with like less and less security.
Like there's definitely people out there that would want to fight Todd Howard. Like, fight him.
just
right? So like the idea that it's impossible that someone would just run up on stage at him and just throw down is ridiculous. Like, it could happen.
If there are some industry figures that might start a Malice in the Palace, there might be an Artest moment of Bobby Kotick walking up stage and someone just hurls a giant Slurpee at him, and then it's going down, because that motherfucker's not just going to take it and run. Like, I feel like he's jumping into the crowd and it's going down, man.
I would kill to see just a massive brawl.
But maybe Geoff kind of a little bit deep down wants it, because then he can jump in front of Hideo and be like, I'll protect you.
I'm sitting here overwhelmed with like the blood sport fantasy of Geoff holding up a fucking trophy and going, game of the year goes to whoever can take this from me.
It's all possible. The potential is there. The TGAs, it really can go down, Well, anyways, we'll see. We'll see what this means for security. And they're not elaborating because obviously it's security. But
don't elaborate. I want like dudes, like bouncers. Just a couple, right? That's what I think is appropriate, personally.
But then I guess the question is, if anyone like if someone gets up and starts walking to the stage and they do it Will Smith or Kanye style, like, are you, like, if you're a part of the industry, are you allowed? Like if Itagaki is suddenly walking the stage, where some shit's about to go down, and you're like, hold on a minute, you gotta get him, right? You gotta get him. Yeah, you got a dude like that. You gotta shut down the.
He's got a samurai sword, Wooly.
He's got tequila in the other hand.
God.
All right, look.
Okay, we should back up on that because that makes no sense to people that aren't like dialed all the way in.
It's like 10,
Wooly
15
and I
years ago.
are laughing about an interview from 15 years ago where some people went to interview Tomonobu Itagaki about Ninja Gaiden, and they showed up and he was visibly drunk on tequila and was just like going, "You guys like samurai swords?"
I believe they opened the door to him holding tequila and a samurai sword. And it was like, do you like katanas? Aren't they the shit? Like, it was, yeah, just straight up waving it around. You know, you're like, that's Mr. Dead or Alive right there.
Right there. That's Ninja Gaiden, the guy who got fired for inappropriately touching the secretaries.
Yes,
that's Mr. Dead or Alive.
But I want to say that was also moments before legendary events where his 5 most hated games were Tekken 1, Tekken 2, Tekken 3, Tekken 4, and Tekken 5. So, you know.
And if I was allowed a 6th, Tekken 6. Do you remember that? That was the note at the bottom.
Yep. It's funny to see like the days of when Ono and Harada would have their old like wrestling kayfabe rivalry, because it's like, that dude had a real on-site fucking rivalry with Itagaki. Like, they're a bunch of nerd fucking, you know, game devs, but they wore shades, so that means they came with Tood. Anyways,
how do I make myself look cooler? Well, just put the shades on. Now no one can see my eyes. Perfect.
I had a big week.
You had a big week? Tell me about your big week, sir.
Big boy had a big week. Lots of things went down.
Do you often refer to yourself as a big boy? Because I feel like I'm doing it more often now that I talk
only when I have a big day. When big boy has a big day, then that's what it is.
And you sit down and you're like, big boy eats a big meal for his big day.
Big boy does need a big meal for his big day, but sometimes, well, those days are getting farther and fewer in between. Regretting the big meal, I might be, you know, but yeah. Anyway, okay. Well, just a side note. Jumped in to see what was going on with the KOF 13 global match. Now with Rollback, it's got Rollback. That's good. I played a match against someone that I believe was on Brazilian Wi-Fi, and that was bad. It was awful, terrible. Hey. But then every other match I played was pretty good. I had one sketchy one. I had one sketchy one as well after that with somebody that it was just like we just couldn't get it going. But for the most part, I would say over the course of a night of playing, 2 rough connections. So, you know, not flawless, but I felt like it felt okay for the most part. Setting it to 2 frames, it was kind of the default case, and it was all right. Then there was just the part where you're like, oh fuck, I'm going back to KOF 13. How do I play this thing? It's so
time to get
hard.
Stomped out.
Oh god, yeah.
I think that the most King of Fighters thing I've ever seen in my life is SNK going, King of Fighters 13 global match coming right at you. How are you going to advertise it, guys? I know what we'll do. We'll put up 1 minute long combo videos of the most impractical shit you've ever seen. You want to see fucking Ash Crimson doing backflips into little twirl kicks for 45 hits in the corner? That's KOF 13 global match.
Your sans culotte combos are necessary. Now listen, and I know every time it gets brought up, I know that KOF 13 players are like, stop making the meme that's making the game seem like it's too hard for people. But the reality is that it is probably, of the new era, it is probably the least forgiving at input, leniency when it comes to just landing a jump into a button, you know? Yeah. But it's still a fucking incredible game. And I think eventually the place I got to was, I'm going to learn. I've always messed around with in KOF. I've always jumped around the cast and just picked people I liked and did their special moves a bunch. It was just very, I have
never been very good at KOF.
Learning to be a little bit tighter about short hops and things is in the repertoire. But for the most part, I've always just been like, let me just do some fucking power dunks and see what happens.
Yeah, I played KOF like I played Street Fighter in 1995.
Right.
Did a fireball. Whoa!
We're just doing shit, you know? And I think what I eventually landed on was like, okay, the language of doing a good thing, a good combo, a real thing in KOF is like there is a universal thing you can kind of learn where it's like with every character you got to learn like what their like command normal is. So you do a button and then you press forward plus a button and then you activate your big max cancel, and then you do that again, and then just combo into your level 2 and then to your big level 3, and you can call it a day.
You also got to find out is, hey man, which stupid little dinky looking tiny bitch knee with your toe out on your little tiny hop is the most busted thing in the world.
It's super duper good. It's short hop, yeah. And so I still like that's that. I'm just like, oh, if you can remember like the forward press button thing that your character does, you can do everyone's general sort of equivalent of, you know, a Shoryuken FADC Ultra, you know, type of thing. So just do that across the board. Fucking still just like going back to it, I'm like, man, I love to look at this thing in action. But it's the only the other thing that sucks there though is this rollback update only applies to the console versions. That's not on the PC version. Weird. And I think it's because the PC version was handled by a different group, I believe. So it's like a different kind of port. The global match port is PlayStation, and there's a Switch version, but then the Steam thing is just a different product, you know?
That's stupid.
And so there's no crossplay as well because they don't have the same type of, you know, matchmaking. So that's a bummer. And the thing is, every other KOF rollback update over the years has been straight to Steam, you know, like it's been good for it. So I hope they get around to this. They've been doing it with every other game, and you know, they seem to be pretty dedicated to getting rollback in all of the old KOFs that people want.
Hey man, King of Fighters games are good. There's a lot of good King of Fighters games that you can play, and most of them have been updated like this. So like, good for SNK.
Yeah, I'm glad that they're keeping at this, you know. Yeah, the rollback train continues. I mean, obviously we'll talk about a little bit more of that later.
It's just Harada now. It's just him. Like we're talking about going back to fucking decade-old King of Fighters games to add rollback, and we're sitting there going, boy, I hope Tekken.
The matches of the last CBT were better than the first one. They were better than the first one. I didn't fuck around with any. I didn't look into the settings to see if I could tweak how many delay frames versus what or so. But you know, the first one was woof. Second one is like, okay, we're playing some matches. Let's see what we release.
I think we're at the tipping point for the general consumer. Abroad, not from Japan, because we're now at the point where you don't need to know what rollback is because almost everything has it. Now the distinction is, hey, how come I can't play with my friend from England in this game and it be good like it is in Street Fighter or King of Fighters or fucking Guilty Gear or incoming DBZ or, you know.
And it's yeah, you don't want to have. It's always nice when like you get. So this week, I think there was like a sale for Street Fighter 6 or so. It had like 35% off, which then led to a lot of new people picking it up, which then led to a lot of people going, "How the fuck do I do down, forward plus a button?"
As always,
you know,
it's the way of things.
And so that discourse pops up whenever there's a new group of people, and it's like that. It's nice when.
Do you call the braying of farm animals discourse? Because every time this discourse comes up, it goes.
Yes. So it's either look. There's two ways the brain goes. It's either the Penny Arcade style, the neighing and braying of farm animals follows, or it's the chef with the handout going the discourse, you know. But whatever the case is, the discussion is focused on how do I do this thing from training mode, because I think I have to do 3 separate inputs, which is fine, as opposed to like I tried to play a match with my friend and it sucked, you know. why did I spend my
I
money
saw
on
somebody
this,
in the chat sum it up
awful.
perfectly. In that the discussion has gone from why doesn't this have rollback instead of delay into now even a child can go, why game bad?
Yeah.
What
Yeah.
like you know,
Everyone,
like those fucking Virtua Fighter matches I played with Susie were garbage, man, and we're super bummed out.
When people know what it looks like when you're connected to any multiplayer game and someone's lagging the fuck out, and then they lag out the entire match for everyone else as a result, and you're just like,
if I don't hear Portuguese, it's the game's fault. I'm listening.
You know,
I'm listening.
Yeah. So yeah, we're approaching a place where it's more good than bad, and the problem might be almost completely solved. Let's see what happens come T8.
So this is where I get to be totally insufferable because, like, hey, I fucking love Tekken a lot. Like, Tekken is like, when we would complain about this, I'm like, boy, I hope Street Fighter and Virtua Fighter and Tekken get this good net code, because I think Tekken is super.
Yeah, like we don't. If Mortal Kombat does or doesn't have it, it's like, okay, well,
I mean, those they pay. They don't know. They can't tell.
It's okay.
Does the child distinguish the taste of each color of crayon?
Geras controls time. That was a Geras move. He was just teleporting backwards because that's some time fuckery, Yeah. So anyway, I checked out a couple things actually. So yeah, I looked at that. I then went and explored some of the newer Vampire Survivors clones.
There's a lot.
There's quite a few that have popped up, and yeah.
That's Bullet Heaven.
Bullet Heaven games. That's
Steam has codified it as Bullet Heaven.
Oh, it's in there now officially.
It is now in there. It is codified.
Good. Well,
and
you know what?
Funny because we're
shitting on genres
before.
That's
and like,
a pretty good
do you
one.
remember when Doom clone became first-person shooter? You remember when because there were more FPS games that couldn't be likened to Doom,
right?
And so it stopped being useful.
There you go, Bullet Heaven, perfect. So shout out. So Jimmy Bones was playing a couple of these, and he recommended two that he was going through. So I was like, yeah, okay, let me jump in there because I'm still enjoying, Vampire Survivors, and that's again, the turn your brain off desire and fun is always good. So I enjoyed 20 minutes till dawn. I wanted to see what was happening. So one of the newer ones that came out was called Death Must Die.
Hey, guess what? I also played a bunch of it over the weekend.
Okay. So it's interesting because of what else I played here, but which I'll get to in a second. But I played it, and I was like, all right, you are very clearly inviting yourself to be compared to Hades.
I would like to ask you a question before we continue. Wooly, what is the dividing line in your heart between sincere imitation and overt theft?
The dividing line is going to be in the other game that I played.
Okay.
Because there's another one. I'll have to talk about these simultaneously, I guess, and not to just do this full like apples and oranges bit, but they are very similar. Halls of Torment. Have you seen this?
I played Halls of Torment.
Oh, interesting. Okay, because
those games are really similar.
And yet, the vibe. Halls of Torment invites itself to be compared to Diablo.
And aggressively. And specifically Diablo 1.
And they're both gameplay-wise Vampire Survivor style. Even with auto-aim on or off, you can turn it on. Both games, you can turn auto-aim on.
Point the analog stick.
So you don't have to make it twin stick, which is good because I'm like, I want the relaxed version of this. That's what I'm looking for. Level up and walk. So, full points on that. I like the ability to unlock a couple of different classes pretty quickly and see what's going on.
Yeah.
Both games are pretty good at that. Right after 2-3 runs, you get to see what else is going on with different classes. But as you're playing Death Must Die, like, characters are introducing themselves, and, you know, they're fully voice acted and they're doing the bit, and you're like, oh, there's a god of fire. There's a god.
I'm Summer, the god of fire. I'm the Fates. I'm the Crom, the god of conquest.
And you're like, okay, I see what you're doing, and I see that then after you say your line, it pops up to 3 windows that are the 3 windows to
and
pick
the 3 windows have the icon for the power, and they're a fucking diamond. And they're the same size as the Hades diamond. And
you do this for a couple runs, and I'm like, okay, I don't mind if you're, again, paying homage to something that's great, because Hades is great, but now I'm like, but this is just a subpar version of that, because the lines and the characters are like, they're, now that you're just trying to kind of do more Hades, I'm like, oh, but these are less kind of charming characters. The lines are not as fully, the performance is not,
I completely agree. Like,
arts,
you compare music, Summer and Winter and the Fates to
Meg,
fucking Meg, or fucking Ares, or any of the god, and it's like the comparison. Like, Wooly, I was like paying really close attention. It's not just that you talk to the god and the god's the same size on the screen and the text box is the same size and it's read, the dialogue is read at the same speed that Hades is. And then you get the 3 choices that all take up the same amount of size on the screen, and the diagonal diamonds are there with the icons. It's not just all of that. It's the transition effect from the dialogue to the 3 power-ups is the same as it is in Hades.
It's
right,
the
and I'm like, this is traced. This isn't inspired. This is traced over, but it's not as good.
And yep. And then you're gonna be, and then it's like, but the gameplay is gonna be hordes coming at you instead of going through rooms. So, and
it's good too. That's the part where it gets complicated. Is that as a fucking Vampire Survivors clone, the sprites look good, the enemies look good.
Yes,
however, there's only one stage. And
you know, but that's the kind of thing. So the characters start showing up, and then they show up and they talk in the dialogue bubbles that pop up above your head. One of the skeletons is an enemy that's kind of like the talking skeleton we might already know a little bit. And then you go outside the environment that you start in, it down from the bottom left, right, where you kind of, the hallway starts, and then you can walk up to vistas and look over their edge and then talk to yourself about what you're trying to do to get out of there. And you're like, you didn't, like, it, every single aspect of it, not just a little bit here or a little bit there, but the whole thing is just feeling cribbed. And it's,
do you want to know,
comparing it, it's just not as good.
I feel like we can call I feel like confident in saying this feels traced rather than imitated. But do you want to hear the most nothing complaint that actually totally ruined the whole game for me? And it is so minor. It is the tiniest thing. The arts for the gods is pretty good. They're more anime than Hades, for example. The pixel art's pretty good.
Some of them are a little more hit and miss, but you know.
It's when I unlocked the second character, the elf sorcerer lady.
Yeah.
And she walked up to talk to the knight. And in their dialogue boxes, they're using emojis. And they're using old-fashioned, bracket emojis.
Okay. Did you get the third character?
Yes, I did. Who speaks entirely in lowercase.
Yeah.
And,
so they're talking in online discussion modes. So one character, the main character, the first guy, is just normal proper sentences with full grammar. The second is emoting and doing eyes
emojis
with cutesy mouth.
with like a brackets P.
Yeah.
as
Nya
like a
face and stuff like that.
haha.
Nyeh. Yeah. And then the third one is just I'm lowercasing, I don't want to talk to, no you energy. You
Speaks
know?
like somebody who plays Dota.
Right. And couldn't be
Like a
bothered.
character from your Dota match went from typing slurs at you to being a character in this.
I was like, that was like, sure, that's fine. I didn't bother. That didn't bother me.
So like yes, but at the same time, like it doesn't even fit its own art, and it's just like oh.
But the thing with it, of course, is that like when you'd have those little dialogue moments in, you know, again, the comparison point, they're inviting Hades. You would also have, you know, Hades himself and or some of the other characters say things for those moments. So like if you walk up to one of the not unvoiced, but like when he goes hey to the chef just goes murr, you know, but like you still say your line, you know, before you get out of there. And here, yeah, it all feels just like a hollower version of that. If any of it was like you're saying traced, I'm like, if any of it was like, you know, paying reference, but then putting its own flair to it, I really would give it a lot more leeway. But I'm like, well, I'm looking at it. Summer is that's a fun design for a character. Crom, not so much, you know? I'm like, Crom doesn't look
Crom
like
is like strangely bad out of the designs.
It wasn't winning me over.
We didn't even get to the worst part. So Crom is what? The god of war?
Mm-hmm.
What are the powers you unlocked for Crom?
It was like damage buffs and...
Oh, you mean rotating spinning blades that fly
spinning
around?
Blades were yeah. Spinning blades was part of it. That's true.
Wait, you do a damage over time called Rupture, and then when you hold L2, it shows you what the status effect means. They're the same. They're the same gods, even.
You know, and then Ice Boy shows up, and you're like, Ice Boy looks cool, you know. But yeah, overall, I was just like, oh boy. You know, and the thing is the gameplay is doing the Vampire Survivors thing, but I still was like, it wasn't full grab, right? So this is all to say. Meanwhile, I popped open Halls of Torment, and I fucking loved it, man. And I thought it was like and this is like, okay, so I'm not the right comparison point because I don't have Diablo as my nostalgic, you know.
That's fine.
But I aesthetically know what it's supposed to kind of look like, and I like, even like when you meet NPCs and it does their little scrolling dialogue thing and their little
it's
box
clear. It's
is
very
talking.
Clear.
The voice acting is a lot more deliberate and like solid for what they're trying to do. Sprite work and overall and everything is clear, is just like it's well done for what it's trying to emulate. But in general, I'm just enjoying what it's doing with that reference more. And it also feels like some of the mechanics that I saw that I thought were more unique to this, I thought were pretty dope. Like, I like the fact that when you go into the world and you find a rare item, like, it's like, oh, bring this back to a well and you'll get it pulled up. And then you can save that item as a purchasable for future runs, you know? Like, that sense of discovery was always fun for like, ooh, I'm on a good run. Do I want to sacrifice one of these for future runs, you know? And if so, like, which one? The fact that you had, like, there's kind of like a garlic equivalent, which is like the aura around you, but it does more than just kind of hit everything in that circle. It's also a damage distributor. So like whatever you hit in that circle, it evenly distributes across the full thing, you know? A couple of different ways to interact with your build and stuff that I in just a couple hours of playing it, I felt were like, oh, this is different and unique from some of the stuff I was doing in Vampire Survivors, and like solid, really fun. I enjoyed it quite a bit. I don't know how your Halls of Torment experience was, but between the two, I just was like, I'm coming way back to this than I am to Death Must Die. Also, in Death Must Die, the main antagonist is Death, the god of death.
Yeah, it's Death. Yeah.
We have to die. Who has to die? Not unlike another god of death.
Yeah. Well, no, what? I don't know. If I had to describe Death Must Die, I would say that it is less than the sum of its parts. It is somehow less.
I guess so.
because
I guess
every
so.
single part of it is something cool that has been taken from something cool. The
Yep.
thing it took it from did it better,
Yep.
like
It's
significantly.
the Hades parts are not as good as Hades, and the Vampire Survivors parts are not as good as Vampire Survivors.
And the gear stuff is not as good as Halls of Torment.
So yeah, Gear and Halls of Torment. I didn't think I was like, I don't know how much I want to handle gear equipment and stuff, but like I got the hang of it very quickly, and it was like I know, you know what, I'll trade off these speed boots for a little bit more attraction orbs, or whatever.
Like Vampire Survivors is always going to be the peak of this genre because of a very specific emotion. It's an emotion you have felt, but you didn't know where to put it because you didn't have the baby on hand to deflect it, which is, I'm playing Vampire Survivors. I'm going to make sure to turn my infant away from Vampire Survivors so that his dopamine regulation isn't just blasted into shit during his formative years, because I'm sitting there getting my hair blown back, feeling every neurotransmitter in my fucking brain fire at once, going, ah!
Yeah. I had one of my editors let me know that they keep their iPads away from the kid generally, but they had like one time on an airplane where there was a long flight.
Oh no!
And they went, okay, we'll just get an iPad for the one flight, and that was all it took for the hooks to be buried in. And kids
me and Paige were just talking this morning about low stimulation TV shows.
Yes, right. Slowing it down a bit. What the fuck was it called? Well, anyway, there was some. I was talking about that this morning too as well. Actually, it's interesting because it takes very little, but all this in the context of Vampire Survivors is still just like crushing it for what it's doing and everything. And there's even little bits where you're like, the music you're hearing while you're playing Vampire Survivors is super catchy and fun, and you're hearing it for half a fucking hour. You better enjoy it. And
No, I'm not hearing it for a half hour, not anymore.
Okay, well,
I'm hearing
fine.
it for fucking 14 minutes.
Yeah,
and then you get to 12 minutes, and then the sound effects have completely drowned out the music, and your TV is just going and I can't see anything, and I feel like I'm gonna throw up.
Meanwhile, like Death Must Die. I'm like nothing's particularly memorable or standing out to me with that soundtrack. Whereas like the goddamn Hades bass drop, like that is in my soul, So yeah, it's just it is a weird way to play it. But Halls of Torment as a Diablo Vampire Survivors thing, like I guess it, like I don't know how so because Diablo more here, does that feel like more like homage, but we're doing our own thing?
Halls of Torment feels like, do you remember? So Diablo is a very strange series in that Diablo 1 had the best aesthetic by far and had the best tone, and Halls of Torment says we understand that was the best aesthetic and the best tone, and we want to replicate that. But the gear stuff from the later games was awesome. Halls of Torment seems like a game made by people who go, all that time that you spent walking to different enemies in a Diablo game and how much of that time was wasted? What if you just stood in a single fucking spot and every enemy in the world just came at you and you just got rid of all the chaff, talking to people and moving around? Okay. Who gives a shit? Yeah. Just get to get that dopamine shit. And that predates fucking Vampire Survivors by actual decades. Okay. Right? It feels in the style of, or in belovedness to, the thing, instead of it is that thing. It's the bare minimum amount we could get away with changing before a lawyer called our office.
Yeah. Okay. And expectation as a result too is, I guess you start out in that, like you're just in some room with some guy, and then you start meeting people slowly, and then they kind of tell you a little bit about what's going on, but otherwise you're just here to play this fucking horde game. But when you think about the Hades comparison, Hades is dripping in lore, after you do your first run and get back to base and get a
that's
feel
when the
for
game
everything.
starts. once you beat the game. Hey, let me ask you. Is there a necromancer class in Halls of Torment? This is actually vital.
In both games, you can necromancer spells as an ability.
Fucking great. The reason I say that is because there is a much smaller Bullet Heaven game that people can check out called Bone Razor Minions.
Okay.
In which all you can do is raise skeletons.
Oh, okay.
Every single power-up in that game is a different type of skeleton.
Okay.
And it's really good. It's really, really good.
What's it called?
Bone Razor Minions.
Bone Razor Minions. Okay. Yeah.
It's really good.
In each game, that's the first thing I went to. I'm like, this can be a busted skill. How strong are these skeleton buddies?
When I'm playing, if I play Hades, it's like it is sorely missed. It is like the only type of ability that I'm like, oh, Hades missed out. Oh, I want to raise skeletons, man.
Rolling with an army. Yeah.
I don't want to do it. I just want them to do it's cool.
But Hades' rooms are like, they're tight, you know? Like that could easily
I know.
That could easily fuck the whole thing up.
Maybe Hades too.
Maybe.
So I gotta ask, you have played 20 Minutes Till Dawn, Vampire Survivors, Death Must Die, Halls of Torment. You're kinda going through it, and the genre's good.
And a couple of seconds of the Hollow Cure one.
I was about to ask, where do Halls of Torment and Vampire and Death Must Die stack up against the Hollow Cure?
I need to spend a bit more time with Hollow Cure because I really just did like one or two. Like it was very, very minimal, but it didn't stand out too much to me, and the aiming thing was just a huge part of what I didn't want. So,
I think it's got the auto aim now.
Okay. But like if I have to you know, twin stick it, which is a different kind of game, then like that's just not what I'm looking for.
So for me, I've gone back to
Halls
Hollow
of Torment
Cure a
I put
couple of
second.
times. Yeah. I've gone back to Hollow Cure a couple of times. I don't like that you use gacha. It's a free game, so yeah. I don't like how you roll for new characters. I think that's weird. But the characters are all very different to play. I am bored to tears by its entire aesthetic. The art, the music, the sound, the menus. I have no emotional attachment to any of these people / characters, and the actual aesthetic means nothing to me. So I'm not getting a pull.
Right, and there was like not as many. I remember last time you talked about it. There was not as many levels or characters out by comparison to.
They've gotten a lot, but there's way more characters now. There are way more characters now.
Okay. Yeah. I'd have to go back and see where it is updated now, but yeah, I just took a quick look. Excuse me, like a while ago. I feel like I legitimately want to go back, boot up more Halls of Torment, and unlock more. I got I think the 5th class of character in that, and I'm pleasantly surprised with like just the different ways they play and how everything is set up. And I guess the decision there, because you know how like Vampire Survivors, every character any character can just become any other character. You're just choosing where you start with.
Well, there's a couple really fringe cases, but yeah, most characters can become most characters. They're just coming with a statistical variation and a starter weapon.
Yeah, here it doesn't feel like that's the case so much. You know, it feels like what your main warriors is attacking with is just that sword attack is not going to be something that your cleric can do.
Hold on. I have to stop. I just saw somebody say that this is a week of us bashing things they don't understand. I said I don't care about the aesthetic. I didn't even say it was bad. That looks so insecure. That looks so insecure. Oh my God.
I have played the Hollow Cure thing for 1 or 2 games. I have not played enough to really get a feel for it in the way I have with the other
Oh
two.
my
But at the time,
God.
the aiming thing was something I didn't like.
Nothing screams.
Yeah. It's just.
Oh my God.
But I have extra attachments to these things, and now you're
Oh my
disliking
God.
them, so that makes me feel bad, and I don't want to hear about the things that make me feel bad. So please stop doing it.
Pat, I really think what you said was rude. Pat, what you said was rude. Oh, it's because you hate short people, huh? It's because I'm short, huh? It's because I'm a tiny little man. Does that make you like? Come on,
dude. Yeah, look. All you could do is just give the opinions on the things you know. It is what it is. Like whatever.
I can't. Oh my God, that hit me like a bullet. Like somebody just pulling their tiny penis out and saying, "Why are you making fun of it? Why?" I'm like, I didn't even know you. I can't even see your penis. I'm not talking about it. You make fun of it now.
Now, the thing is too is like I'm coming at Halls of Torment, giving it praise, having not been a Diablo player with no connection to the source material they're going for. So I can look at
really
something
good point, actually,
independently of its source material. You know,
that's a really, really good point.
I'm really enjoying it. So yeah, it's but it is an interesting space, and I want to say that these both came out like a couple. Well, no, Death Must Die is new. Halls of Torment was a couple.
Death Must Die is new, like now new.
But it just
like I think it came out last week.
Yeah. So, but that's the overall feeling on it. Unfortunately, I think I'm gonna continue the Halls of Torment for my downtime needs. I also appreciate the little option that lets you turn on the aiming line to just be like, hey, what am I looking at right now?
Oh, that's nice. I didn't find that.
It's great. It's great. So you just seriously, like, every time you walk up to the group and you're like, what am I targeting? I can just, you can minorly correct. Real useful. Okay. Couple other things. I played
What else you got?
Pizza Tower. Got around to that.
Oh, fucking okay.
Yeah.
Hey, you want to talk about things that I hate on and everybody mad at? Here we go with Pizza Tower.
I know.
How do you like Pizza Tower?
I love it. It's so good. It's so good. And
good. The podcast
sucks.
is saved because someone here likes Pizza Tower.
Like if the art style being the hurdle there is a bummer, because when I look at it I'm just like, man, that thing is landing, because it's trying to do, for me, it's doing 90s cartoons, John Kay, Ren and Stimpy, Cow and Chicken, I
hate everything you just said.
And then it's also doing, for video games, it's doing a particular kind of animation that's like Booger Man. Remember Booger Man?
Yeah, it sucked.
No, like that shit is it's nailing it. I'm loving that. The bright like, again, MS Paint animation, that comes from it. And then obviously, like, that's just the aesthetic choices, which they're killing, by the way. Like, they're choosing to go into an aesthetic style and they're killing it.
I have to say, it's like, even my personal distaste, I remember looking at it and going, they are absolutely perfectly embodying their exact desire. It just happens to be a picture that I don't want to look at.
But it's one thing. So we're talking about things that are reminiscent of other things so far. And
yeah,
like, you want, and so Halls of Torment is like I said, it's like, it's good, doing their bit. Death Must Die, shallow. The comparison is not landing. It's not on that point. Fucking Pizza Tower is pointing at that shit and emulating it, but doing an incredible job on its own by, like, actually, like, being comparable to the things that it's the styles it's taking after. Mm-hmm. In the ways that you appreciate how, like, Cuphead is not only homaging old animation, but it's as good as that animation, in some cases better. And like that's the way you feel about it, so, just on that visual style. So then gameplay wise, it's Wario Land combined with Metroidvania, combined with like the like just open level traversal speed running, of like a Super Meat Boy style traversal thing, and the character has enough moves in his arsenal to basically be a Smash Brothers character. So right off the bat, it just feels really good because the art style is incredible, and then like you have so many things you can do, and it's asking you to just be fast, but here's a full move list right away. And I super appreciate that. I love that, like, in the basic tutorial, here's your shoulder block, here's your shine spark, here's your grab into your pile driver if you're playing beat 'em up style grabs, if you're going for an uppercut to shoryuken, like all the different things you can do are like butt slam, a full ass move list. And then it's like, all right, here's some levels, go. You can walk into any one at any time on each floor that you go to. So it's just a video game, and in the purest sense of platforming and speedrunning, like, I appreciate it. I like that you go through it as a platformer, fighting and finding secrets and everything, and then on the way out, it's just Metroid, escape to the ship every time, And while all that's happening, the characters that you're running around in the overworld and doing shit are just, full of personality. The music is banging. The boss fights are a lot of fun. There's Mega Man-like boss fights where you're one-on-one in the room, dodging the bullet patterns and trying to learn the intricacies, and then they hit phase 2 and shit gets crazier. It's pure video games, man. Undistilled, uncut.
It's probably the first time in a long time that I was playing it and was like, my emotional reaction to this is wrong. Like, am I out of touch, or is it the children? And I'm like, I want to say it's the children, but no, I'm probably wrong.
Dude, like, I was having this much fun before I even learned there was a parry. Like, that came as ice cream after the meal. I was fully enjoying it, and then it's like, oh, by the way, the taunt button also acts as a frame perfect parry on shit coming in on you, and I'm like, oh, oh, what? It's so good without it, but you just did what? Like, yeah, changing the way you approach the boss fight after that, or the way you approach enemies, because now I'm reminded of how, love me some Sonic Rush. Love me some of the Sonic games where you're just blasting through the stage and, like holding forward and then jumping, taking a left or a right, branching occasionally. But here you have some enemies that are like, oh, you got to stop and deal with that. And if you parry them right as you're about to impact, right as Sonic is about to hit that wall of spikes, if you can parry it and be like, no, actually, I'm going to keep going. With a little taunt on top of it. So, it's grabbing the things I love at max speed. You're grabbing a little bit of Sonic Rush in there for me too, and I fucking adore all of those things. So, I from just that first session, I'm like, fucking, I get it. My understanding too is like it's not very long, so I got up to the 3rd floor. I think there's only a little bit beyond that, but clearly there's secrets and difficulty runs and challenges and perfect grade, ways to run back through some of those levels and shit. So I'm also a sucker for characters that have transformations and modes. So obviously Mega Man and Kirby come to mind, but back then too, like the ability to have multiple. I remember like specifically loving how like your default character just got more than just a weapon. It was like a whole different change to the way they played, and for him getting the knight or getting the Mort the chicken mode and stuff is it just scratches that itch of like having different modes in a platformer that I also love as well. With each new level gimmick or so might come a new way to play, and I just fucking I dig that shit. There's one power up that was like only for the one boss fight, and that was it, You fucking pick the gun up for the cowboy boss fight, and then the fight ends on a Samurai Kirby quick draw duel, and I'm just like, yeah, you know how much I love Samurai
I
Kirby.
know, I'm well aware.
Yeah,
aware that you like the Kirby quick draw duel where it's tap the button.
So I have nothing but good things to say about how much fun I had on that game. Yeah, we'll see what else is going on. But I almost wonder if, like, the way his B button specials were set up, I'm like, are you kind of petitioning yourself for a Smash or a platform fighter? Like, are you kind of auditioning your character?
That's a ballsy claim. That is.
Up B is an up B, down B is a butt stomp, left and right are a tackle, and then there's a grab neutral B attack. Like, it feels like it's baiting Nintendo or some other platform fighter to be like, hey guys, we got one for you here. It feels like it's baiting them, you know? Anyway, though, really, really, really good.
I really wish I liked Pizza Tower.
Maybe there'll be a mod that can, like, change all the graphics.
No, that's so. You know what? It's not the graphics is like whatever. I could get over that. It's I mean, you mentioned like it reminds you of like Sonic Rush, like going absolute top speed in a Sonic game. Like one of the things that like I become outed as like a complete freak every time we talk about it. It's like I hate like the fucking max speed pads in Sonic games. Like every Sonic game that came out, which is look, the rush pads just make you go super fast through an automatic stage like it sucks.
Oh, wow. Okay.
It's why I like Sonic 2 and Sonic 3 and Sonic and Knuckles. Like I like the way Sonic feels, and I like doing spin dashes to go fast when I need to, and the feel of the platforming. I don't like hitting a bounce pad and then watching like an automatic loop to loop that I have no control over. So when I get to Pizza Tower and people are like, look, it's fast like the Sonic games, and I'm like, oh goody.
I don't know, man. That's the complete opposite for me. Yeah,
and every time we have it, you look at me like I'm
no, yeah. Because I love going fast, and then I love like there's a point where you're like, okay, if the whole thing is just playing itself, that's pointless. But I like going from fast into controlling the speed afterwards, and then having a sequence or a room or area and then going again, you know? I like the interplay of like rhythm up into control. And when you're doing it like perfectly, it looks like you're basically stopping to do the cool thing and you keep it moving, you know?
Like if anybody a while ago before I played Sonic Mania, I played through Sonic 1, 2, 3 and Knuckles. And like I played through those games weird in that I played through them slow. In that, like, the timer in a Sonic stage is a threat to me. Because I will die.
Yeah, I just, I love the feeling of going fast and then, you know, coming out of that and doing the obstacle. I also think about how... I mean, having the freedom is always certainly optimal, but think about like the way I'm playing Rocket Knight Adventures, right? Sparkster, like fucking boosting through those levels, taking out enemies, stopping, and then boosting on again, boosting upwards. You know, like the ability to just to constantly get that charge going.
I need to stop you. We're gonna have a polite version of this conversation. What game are you talking about right now?
I am talking about the Super Nintendo game Sparkster.
Okay, because every single time we talk about this, you go Rocket Knight Adventures, Sparkster, and like those are two completely different games that feel different. Because what you're describing isn't what Rocket Knight Adventures is like. Rocket Knight Adventures is slow.
Okay.
And you use the boost as a jump.
Okay.
So it's way better.
Okay. So I love the ability to have that much momentum at your disposal. So like I'm always a fan of being able to do that. And of course, it's been a solid decade of me going off about how much I love shine sparking in Super Metroid as well. So like I just yeah, I love that sense of speed, you know. Yeah, that it's what I'm looking for. It's certainly a thing that gets me
So
happy
yeah,
when I
like
see it.
what would happen when I play Pizza Tower is I would play it like a Sonic game because people told me it's like a Sonic game. Also, it's obviously like Wario Land, but I don't have any, you know, I don't have any history with that. So I would run through an area, but as soon as I got to any branch, I would like jump around and try and find secrets. And like levels were taking me like tens of minutes because I was trying to find all the secrets in the stages before moving on. Where chat was going, no, go fast. I'm like,
Wild.
no, I want to find the collectibles.
Yeah. Okay. I just it's yeah. Again, we have had multiple versions of this, but as a result here, that like this is why I'm happy the moment you do that shoulder tackle into fucking you know, and then you grab something and then you SPD it on top of something else and it bounces off, you know, and then you can fuck with your momentum. All of that, crawling up walls, etc. One thing I was worried about was like hitting a wall point blank and then like sometimes not being able to pick the momentum back up. And it was like, actually you just got to like jump and grab the wall. And it's like, oh shit, solves the problem. You just got to learn the tech for the input, you know? Yeah. So
I see people in the chat mentioning it, but I will reiterate that Celeste is an attack on the mentally ill. It is an aggressive strike.
Despite being one of the
us.
most comforting games that is approaching accessibility as a priority.
Oh yeah, is it? Is it?
That was the impression I got.
Is that why they put something in the game that makes a percentage of people just lose their minds? Is that why they did that?
You're the first one.
They said,
I've
"Hey,
heard.
You're
the first
this
one.
Is gonna be so good when somebody with OCD just shits their ass and has an anxiety attack over this thing we sprinkled everywhere."
You're the only one I've encountered
That's not
this
true.
with.
Look.
Okay. Well,
I'm the only one who's had the courage to stand up and say it that you've encountered.
God. All right. It's great. Okay, I gotta use the bathroom, and then there's another thing that I checked out that actually I want to get into. So, BRB. Hey. Okay.
I'm so brave.
You know what you are? You're a big boy.
I'm a big man.
Big boy. Big boy said a big thing. Said big words. Um, I also this week checked out Scott Pilgrim Takes Off.
Oh, wow. Are you ready? So, wait, hold on. I was so excited to get back into the discourse. Everyone's like, oh, the Scott Pilgrim discourse is coming. But like, no, it's the worst. But I was never going to be as excited as the new Scott Pilgrim discourse, where everyone pretends that Metal Gear Solid 2 was beloved at release.
So, here's what I'll say about it without spoilers. I liked it. It's
Oh, they
pretty
put
fun.
out a trailer that shows off what the show actually is now.
But if you happen to if you're just checking it out and you're where I was in the dark, I liked it. Spoiler discussion on that. Have you seen it? Do you care?
I've not. I don't care anymore.
Okay.
See, here's the best part. So usually when you've seen something and I haven't seen it, we run into like a really horrible conversation in which I'm trying to like figure out what you're talking about based off of this. But this is great because I don't care to see it.
Okay.
Because of what it is.
Huh. Okay. Gotcha. Well, so yeah, if you don't want any spoilers, then don't listen to this conversation, and I will get the timestamp in the notes for wherever it ends, so that you can skip forward. Right. So Scott Pilgrim Takes Off. The
Appropriate name.
The start, of course. This is you watch it, you're getting it. You're like, this is the animated version after all these years, the definitive that we're getting, featuring the cast from the movie and the music from the game, and Anna Managuchi's in there, and
some of the music from the movie too, which is
as well as and the
like I know Black Sheep by Metric is in there.
And then the Brian Lee O'Malley art style and all of that coming together, and you're like, damn, it's been a long time coming, but here we are, we're finally doing it. And then you hit the end of the first episode, and it's like, oh shit, they're doing the thing. We're doing the rebuild. We're doing the FF7R. This is not a remake. It's a sequel.
Wow.
And so I'm like, oh, okay. That's not what I wanted. That's not what was on the tin. Okay.
That's not what the promotional material implied it would
No. Where are we going with this? And then so the first episode, everything is pretty much on point until the Matthew Patel fight.
Yeah.
And then the fight goes down, and then Matthew Patel wins. And it's like, hard cut to credits, right? So like, what are we doing? You then continue along, and it won me over. I came into that like moment, especially being like, oh, is this the thing to do here? And it won me over. It really did. And the reasons why is I think like, okay, well, for starters, I'll say just seeing it animated, even just the parts we know and remember from back in the day, like I always interpreted the energy of reading Scott Pilgrim as like high octane, manic, wild shit popping off everywhere because of these like little in-panel jokes or narration text and things. And the movie had its own tone to it. And when converted into animation, they went for a completely different thing. They went for actually a more silent, kind of awkward dialogue pacing. And it works. It's not the version I thought we were going to get, but people are kind of like stilted and a little quiet at times, and then they sometimes say the same thing overlapping each other, a little bit of imperfection and some pauses. But yeah, a little more of a slice of life take to the pacing of things, and something when like it's like, oh, like where was that character that was there a minute ago? Boink, 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 like the little flash of them being gone. In the manga, it's like a big like they were here, now they're gone, and like in my brain that was a more like overt, loud moment, and here it's just a little like, dink, 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 they're gone. What happened? Hey, you know. But I did, but I think it worked for the tone. The branching point then kind of goes on to have these like complete alt reality adventures with all the characters. The X's in particular get way more fleshed out, and they get to do more and have more interactions with each other and a larger presence, you know, which one is great because, you know, you get to see these the dynamics that I think are fun to explore about these characters. But two, it also makes sense when you have this much of a celebrity cast that's like, you better fucking use them.
Yeah.
You know, you're not going to get like all these people, these names, these big Hollywood names to come around and then just have them do a 2-second cameo for 10 minutes of an episode and they're out.
Right.
You know? So
especially now that some of them are way bigger stars than they were when they starred in the film.
Humongous, which is also part of like the wackiness of how this even got to happen. Apparently is because Michael Cera just bumped a 9-year-old email thread with everybody in it to go, haha, that meme was funny. And then Chris Evans was like, so Michael, what the fuck are you doing? This is a 9-year-old thread. And it's like, oh. And then that just got everybody talking again. And, you know, then Edgar Wright obviously always had these little events where he would like throughout the years, he would do little things like screenings and then talk about like, we still got stuff we want to do here, you know? So there's been
Michael
updates
Cera,
over the years.
As an actor, has managed to weaponize the feeling of uncomfortableness to such a degree that I can't believe that he's allowed to be in movies. If anyone has watched Twin Peaks: The Return, Michael Cera plays a character in Twin Peaks. And it took me like 25 minutes to watch like an 8-minute scene featuring him. It's so it's like I felt sick, like awkward, uncomfortable. It was oh my god.
I appreciate his energy, and he's the king of that energy. My only thing is every time I see it, and it's been again decades now, I do kind of wonder, like, does being typecast in that way just kind of erode you from the inside at all, you know? Because he knows that's what he does. He knows that's his energy, and he's done some movies where it's kind of a departure for weird moments, like that one where he's got the mustache and stuff. I forgot.
I don't know, man.
But you know, I don't know. It has to erode you somewhat. He has.
I thought
it
was
like,
okay in Kick-Ass.
Yeah, like. Yeah, right. Not just that's the problem, isn't it? Yeah, I think he's gonna be in that, and I'm sure he turns down billions and billions of other people trying to do that. McLovin ain't necessarily getting the calls. I'll tell you that.
I also thought Sarah was pretty decent in The Social Network.
Shit. Yeah. Right. No, anyway though, he just bumped a fucking thread and that got everybody talking.
I gotta say,
again.
I appreciate Jesse Eisenberg swooping in to be the Michael Cera that doesn't make you want to vomit on the floor.
Dude, Sarah doing the Sarah shit, that's, you know, the Arrested Development thing just never stopped. We keep it going. And you know what? If you can build an empire on cringe, then build it.
Then you'll start a podcast named the Castle Super Beast Podcast.
Hi-oh.
Hey, ho, hey, to the moon, Alice. All right.
So you get you get to have these better fleshed out, you know, back characters and such. And I kind of forgot, but like thinking back to like the manga, like there was so much backstory exposition for the supporting cast, right? Everyone got a lot of their stuff fleshed out, but the X's definitely not as much, because you had to go more into like Scott's past and then Kim's, you know, and then all the stuff that was there. So This was then another, and because we diverged in the timelines, it was another way to also kind of just have like these little fan service adventures, where it's like, what if these two were in the same room hanging out? What would that be like? You know, and then Edgar Wright throwing his shit in there, you know, getting his little his cameos and such. There's a couple other cameos too. But sorry, yeah. Anyway, no, so I think one thing that maintains and is consistent is that everything and everyone is a messy bitch, and they
they live in Toronto.
The messiest bitches.
They're 20-year-olds who have bands who live in Toronto.
Yeah.
They are messy bitches that live for drama.
Oh man, it can't be stopped. It's incredible. So that energy continues as well. And I think playing with the story and the timeline and the events that occur ultimately lead up to a pretty good bit, right? The final sort of like where it's going and why it is different is something that I think is pretty fun and played in an interesting way. It's like it ultimately just Scott being the worst is always going to be a problem. And even if you kind of end the book on a note that's like, hey, yes, you suck, but you got to get over your shit. And when you get over your shit, you get these big moments of like, here we go, XP up,
self-respect,
power of love, all that, right? X strike, you know, but you don't get to see what happens after the hero saves the day, of course. And in this case, with a fucking dumbass like him, with the way he acts, especially in like in the limbo time when Ramona's gone initially to when he has to go get her back from Gideon towards the end of volume 6 or towards the beginning of volume 6. He's just like skeezing it up and being awful Scott. And you're like, okay, this is always going to be a part of him, right? The nega Scott that he, you know, whatever, fought and shit. So all of that is coming back around where you're just like, the problem with this new sequel reality thing is future old horrible Scott being the ultimate eighth evil X, you know? And he's in Dr. Light Shotokan mode, you know?
Right.
And so you just kind of like you get you know, to go into a more of that, you get Knives in the story, and it's like everything about Knives being like the high school girlfriend is just played exactly as fucking just as you would expect it to. Just everyone has big like dude energy about that the entire time. She ultimately as well gets a lot more for herself as a character as well. And I think, what you sort of end up with is just a nice little like series of almost like fanfic adventers that lead up to a like, okay, this is where the characters can end up in the future. I when I was going through it, I obviously the best part was just happy to see the thing I've wanted for a long time, like all the best of the different mediums this story has been told in coming together. And I always wanted that faithful adaptation of the books, but I kind of realized in the process that it's been 19 years, and if the people making this and if Brian Lee O'Malley and everybody were like, yeah, there's other things there's other stories I kind of want to tell here that are like, you know, a bit more to it coming at it so much later. I get it. So
what did Brian Lee O'Malley do after Scott Pilgrim?
He did Seconds. He did, which is another story. He did Lost at Sea. And then I want to say there was another project called Scott Pilgrim's something.
People are saying something called Snot Girl.
Okay, yeah,
but those never hit like mainstream appeal, right?
They were known as comics. They were pretty big.
No,
as
but
comics, no, not adaptation.
I didn't see Brie Larson playing a character from Snot Girl.
No, not an adaptation form. No, certainly not.
Okay.
But yeah.
So I did not watch this, and the reason I did not watch it is because it came out when I wasn't paying attention. Like it was just like, oh, that's out, and
8
then
episodes, 25
and
minutes.
I was like, oh, how is it? And the answer is that it's not what you thought it was, and I just went, oh, then I'm not interested. So we've had this song and dance now for Evangelion's the big one. FF7, Metal Gear Solid 2 back in the day, He-Man, and like my takeaway is like I don't think Scott Pilgrim itself is good enough to justify this.
Okay.
Like when you said, hey, Evangelion is different now. It's not a direct sequel. It's not a direct remake. I'm like, oh, cool. Fuck yeah. I'll fucking... Okay, what do you got? And then, for Metal Gear, okay. Or for FF7, yeah, sure. But for Scott Pilgrim, like, maybe I aged out of it.
Yeah, I disagree. I like it. I've been a Scott Pilgrim fan. I know that I also am wondering about the fact that, for example, Ava got to a point where I'm like, I did not appreciate the divergence thing. Conceptually, it's an interesting way to play it at the start, but ultimately the things that went down in 3.33, as we've talked about ad nauseum.
Oh, I spent years hating that movie.
Right. It wasn't until that point that it really got me going like, yeah. But I still do think the fucking 4-armed unit and the double Shinji cockpit with Kaoru is fucking badass as hell. Then the FF7R one, I'm like, okay, but the jury's still out because we're not done yet.
Because it's a process.
So the two big examples we have of it's not a remake thing are like a mixed bag that ends a mixed bag that overall I think wasn't worth it, and then one that's currently in the process, but I'm still like, okay, we'll see, but like FF7R so far, I'm like, providing that overall I enjoyed the video game a lot, but just with these changes and such, it's like you have to again get to where it's going. With Scott Pilgrim, it's again certainly not what I expected, and I didn't think I really wanted that. But watching it as I continued, I basically went, play, and then I kind of eyebrow up, where are you going with this? And then I liked where it went. That's kind of what it was. It was a process of initially feeling like I didn't expect that or necessarily want that to happen. I was looking forward to just because I'd spent a long time too imagining how cool would it be to get a nice cool animated series of this. Even also I forgot to mention Robert Paulson animation too. The sprites, he gets a couple of moments in there.
Street fight.
Sorry?
Good old Pirate Baby Cabana Street Fight.
Yes, Pirate Baby Cabana Street. Exactly, right. So the that sprite work is featured in a couple different spots throughout the show as well. I didn't initially think it's what I wanted, but going through it, I'm like, yeah, I like what you did, and it sold the premise by the end. It is also it's a series of characters where I'm just like, man, they're like, hey, you guys like Wallace Wells. Yeah, you do. Let's get some Wallace Wells.
Everybody likes Wallace.
Yeah, let's get some, let's have an excuse to spend some time, just have Wallacing it up, and Kim Pine's the best, and I'm like, I could
Kim's
do with
great.
some more. I could do with some more Kim Pine. So it's like here's a little bit more,
the hard
here's a little bit more
cut to Kim with feedback is the funniest joke in the live action adaptation. That is like by far, by far.
Yeah. Just as she's staring at him, you know. Yeah, the everyone loves Kim Pine. Let's get a little more Kim Pine going. Nice, there it is. And then even little bits where it's just like Matthew Patel who rolls in and has his like 2-second bit, and you're like, what the fuck is this character? Okay, there he goes. And they're like, yeah, let's push him a little bit more. And you're like, oh, it's okay, that's fun, you know. And then they do, and then there's stuff too as well where like every episode kind of commits to having like a fight, you know, as but not necessarily Scott versus this person. It's
right,
whatever the scene calls for at the time, you know. But yeah, I think overall as just a like a tone shift that makes things go into a little bit more of slice of life energy, and a way to explore some of these characters and stuff. It was overall just a fun little revisit to this world. And I also think too, going back to how those 6 books were for what the original movie adaptation was, there is so much shit in those books. They're dense. The pacing. They jump from scene to scene, 2 pages, 3 pages. They jump all over. Everyone's traveling. We're going back to hear about how this person was in high school and what like it's so dense. And I don't know that 8 episodes would have been able to do that, you know, because it took the first half an hour to get to the Matthew Patel fight.
Did you see that Brian Lee O'Malley said that they decided on 1 season because they couldn't guarantee a second one, so they decided to do 1 so that it wouldn't get cut.
That
sucks. That mentality sucks.
But
because Netflix cancels shit for no reason.
But it depends on how much story you have to tell. And to be honest, I don't think this needed more than it gave us, because there were episodes where we got to there were some fight scenes that went on that were just like, hey, look at the cool fight going on. And it doesn't need to be this long, but it's just like a visual flair. It's just a visual thing going on, you know? And like, it's fun choreography, but in terms of content, they could have tightened it up if they wanted to. If they wanted the show to be like 2 episodes less, probably, they could have even done so. But just having that in there, and as well as that little, like, again, like slower, awkward pace for the dialogue and stuff at times, it helps add to the mood, but I don't think it needed more seasons. I don't think we needed to revisit and create a whole new active, ongoing Scott Pilgrim animated series. Nor do I know that the availability of all of these actors is going to be around for season 4 of a Netflix show, you know?
Hey, so, like, I heard what it was, and I'm like, I'll pass. I'm not interested. I don't have any mean things to say about it. I'm just not particularly interested. How do you personally feel about the bait and switch?
The concept of the bait and switch, I don't hate. I just need to I want to see if you're doing this for a reason, right? I know, though, that marketing-wise, that's tricky, because some people are like, I'm showing up for A, and you're giving me B.
So that would have been me. Had I started
and that
watching
on its own upsets me.
Had I been watching it from the start, like, and I had not known prior, that would have been me. I would have gotten to the end of the first episode and go, oh, they're doing that thing, and I would have turned it off. And then if somebody asked me about it, I would have been like, pfft. Right.
But again, I'm also somebody who, as you all know, I'm pleasantly surprised by unexpected experiences when I'm watching or reading or playing things.
Yeah.
I derive great enjoyment out of like thinking I'm going somewhere and something swerving in a way that I didn't predict. And now that you've seen so many swerves and things, and swerves are more and more predictable forever because everything is, you know, doing things that had that. Yeah, I hit those moments, and I don't reject them outright, but I'm like, I need to see why you did this, you know?
So I'm torn about this because my main annoyance is like I would have just never given this a second thought until I saw the discourse moved to, well, MGS2 did it, and that game's one of the most beloved games of all time. And it's like, MGS2 is about media fooling you. Like the purpose of the MGS2 bait and switch is core to the game's main theme, which is that you can be manipulated in an all digital environment and that you can be tricked. And then I thought, well, okay,
Everyone
but let's
fucking
take
hated
Ava.
it at the time. Yeah.
Crazy hated.
Yeah.
Like crazy hated. And then I think back to like Ava and FF7, which are the more modern
yes
versions of this. And like I think about why wasn't I that mad? Why wasn't I not upset when I got bait and switched on those, right? Where I would have been here. And then I came to the inflammatory decision that the reason why I did not get mad is because I used my eyes when I looked at their trailers and all the promotional material for Evangelion 1.0 and FF7 Remake were very overt, saying this is not a direct remake. It's very obvious that this is actually a sequel.
1.0, wasn't it a reveal?
I just watched the trailer while we were talking. The Red Sea is in the first 15 seconds.
Is it? It wasn't a theater reveal. My memory is like, it was while in my memory of that was like, oh, we found out when we saw the Red Sea in the movie theater.
Yeah, no, the Evangelion 1.0 original trailer is the like you see a shot of the first angel and then you get a panning shot of the red ocean.
And
you go, oh, FF7 had those fucking ghosts all over the fucking place. I don't remember that from Final Fantasy 7.
The marketing and
so I go, oh, okay.
The marketing hinted you off.
Marketing went, maybe there's something fishy going on. Right? But with like the He-Man and Scott Pilgrim things, I remember people seeing like the day it came out going, what the fuck? This isn't what the fucking trailer showed.
Yeah, I watched the initial thing and the intro when they released them, but then I saw that there was the third trailer they released where they're like, oh, hey, this is a trailer that is like, don't watch. I saw don't watch this if you don't want to get spoiled on stuff in it. And I was like, oh, okay. So I guess I won't, you know? Yeah, I understand the, like, this is not what I was told I'm getting. It's as a point of, like, as a negative. But I just, like, in the end, if that, like you said, well, with Metal Gear, you're saying that was the point of what the story was about. It was the point. Right?
So fooling you was the whole point of that game.
Right. So, I know that you're not saying that this is the same case, but that does, to me, underline that there are circumstances where it's appropriate to do that. Right?
Sure.
And I think a part of this too in this case as well is like, I mean, from the jump out, like, I don't know if like Scott Pilgrim, like you said, like, you don't, like, you're like, I don't think it was good enough to even warrant necessarily doing this. Like,
well, let me like, so like you asked, so like the question becomes, well, why'd they bait and switch with Scott Pilgrim Takes Off? And it's like, because I think very few people would have watched the first episode if they were told it was a redo. Because the fact that they bait and switched it at all says to me that they were not confident in what they had actually made.
Oh, I don't think that at all. No. I think Scott Pilgrim is a known enough thing that if they announced they're making a new show that was just a new product entirely, or that they were redoing it, it would have been a pretty popular thing regardless.
Then why didn't they feel confident enough to tell people that?
No, because people were like Edgar Wright has been for years now, like doing, again, little like screenings and like, hey everyone, like Scott Pilgrim is still something we're thinking about and working on and want to do more with, like behind the scenes, and it's got enough of a following that has been the case. I think it was simply a creative decision that they made to be like, we want you to expect the story, you know, and then get swerved into an unexpected outcome. Like, I think like they, in both cases, if they just said it was a different thing right off the bat, it still would have been a big deal and would have been, well known and marketed to shit. Certainly, they always could. They'd be able to say like, hey, it's finally happening. We're coming back. We're doing more of this.
So I'm seeing some folks describe that Brian Lee O'Malley in interviews was actually fairly blunt that it was a completely new thing, but Netflix would have been behind the promotion of the trailers and whatnot.
Okay.
So it seems that Netflix was.
So that was the pitch and how they did it, and he was talking about it in the interviews. Okay. Yeah. Then in which case, that I was not aware of.
Which place Netflix, man, bad trailers.
But I find it.
Shaking my finger at you.
But I just maybe my worldview is too limited, and by being too close to all of this shit compared to what mainstream Scott Pilgrim knowledge is. But I feel as if either way, that name is like one that would have been like, oh, it's a new Scott Pilgrim thing that would have been popular. Like announcing it as a remake or announcing it as a sequel, both would have had a pretty big media effect, and the word would have traveled, especially with the giant cast involved. Regardless, I don't see that as a major factor in that aspect of it. But ultimately, even either way, the way it plays out is, it's one where the decision to do it doesn't immediately turn me off if it works its way out to making sense, to something that I think is like ultimately successful in what it's setting out to achieve. So like I don't know, I'm trying to like so when Ava, for example, did that, even catching it from the promotional material versus the catching it in the theater, the initial thought of like, oh, the ocean is red is like, to me, I remember being like, oh, that's interesting. Huh. Holy fuck. Okay. Where are we going with this? That's fun. And I'm very excited by that idea, and so like, again, now that was when I first saw it. Now that it's been done a little bit before, it's not as novel of a thing to encounter, but it's not inherently just a demerit for me. Yeah. If you did like the live action, or if you've read the books, or if you like any of the Scott Pilgrim stuff, even the little Ubisoft game from way back, I think this is.
Is that game good?
It's not the best beat 'em up. It's not the best beat 'em up.
Like, I don't know,
but it is an excuse to appreciate Paul Robertson sprites and Anna Managuchi music.
Like, I like those parts.
Yeah.
But I remember having to grind a lot for coins because it was really hard.
It's all right. It's fine. It's not like a bad one by any means. But overall, it wasn't like I didn't come at it and have the same impression where I'm like, oh shit, yo, River City Girls, look at all this shit you can do. Look at the tech, look at the ability, look at the freedom. Sengoku 3, look at the combo system, the overall like options you get. But it's okay. It's okay. I kind of but I also know that like there's things like that too. Like Castle Crashers is like a fun kind of mindless bitch you throw it on.
I went back to Castle Crashers like a year ago. I forget, I never mentioned it.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so much more basic than I remembered.
But that's my thing, right? Castle Crashers is another example of a super basic, beloved old beat 'em up that I'm not turning to it for any of those things I just mentioned about, River City, Kunio, Sengoku 3. Double Dragon Neon is leaps and bounds ahead with what it's doing in that genre. And I don't turn to these games expecting that. I wish more beat 'em ups put that type of love into it, though these games are not it. And Scott Pilgrim was just one of the mid ones.
Somebody in the chat points out the Scott Pilgrim versus the World, the indie game. Because it's got the sprites.
Right.
It's got look.
Take a second. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
It looks. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's kind of where it lands. Yeah, but it was definitely I remember it was a huge bummer when you couldn't go back to it when it was inaccessible completely. Right. That fucking sucked.
Yeah, that was a pile of shit.
But shit, what was I gonna say? Yeah, I think if you did, watch any of the Scott Pilgrim adaptations from fucking a billion years ago, yeah, this is a fun little extra thing, and it's fairly easy to watch in the sense that like 8 episodes, 25 minutes each, so like you can kind of just do it in one shot. It's quick to get through, but I think the payoff is worth it. Yeah.
Oh, hey, joking about indie, I just scrolled past that fucking Dave the Diver was made by approximately 110 developers for $2 to $3 million. Because there's 30 core staff, and then there's 80 people in the special thanks at various levels of involvement.
Cave Story was published by Nicalis at one point, so Cave Story is not an indie game.
That's right.
Oh, fucking God, poor Pixel. Anyway. So yeah, that's a big long bunch of stuff, but those are some big topics. That was me though.
Okay.
You can tune in this week over on Wooly Versus, and yeah, we're going to be continuing with FF9. We are going to be doing some other stuff. I'll let you know when the podcast is done. Check my Twitter, Wooly Versus, Wooly Wolves on Twitter, Wooly Wolves on YouTube. What is up?
So, Wooly, I don't know if you know this, but Alan Wake is a writer.
Damn.
He is a writer. I was talking with Gene over the weekend, and he's going through Alan Wake 1, and we had both forgotten that at one point, Alan in Alan Wake 1 gets drunk off of evil moonshine. That's not exaggeration. It is legitimately evil moonshine.
Nice.
And stands up and yells, "I'm a writer!"
Does the story take place in Maine, by the way?
No, it takes place in the Pacific Northwest. But parts of Control's story take place in Maine.
Okay. Just going out on a limb.
Yeah. Alan Wake 2 is a fucking tour de force prestige AAA fucking video game that is doing astonishingly cool things with narrative and design, and is a fantastic addition to the survival horror lineup. It has replaced in many ways the need for new Silent Hill games. It is stellar. And also, the TGAs are coming up. And the TGAs have musical numbers as part of their show. And if I don't see Sam Lake and Ika Vili and David Harewood on that fucking stage with Poets of the Fall performing the smash hit from Alan Wake 2, Herald of Darkness, then that show is bullshit.
Please tell me that Herald of Darkness is intentionally edgy.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah? Okay. All right.
Show me the Champion of Light. I'll show you the Herald of Darkness.
Fuck yeah.
Okay,
That's
so,
great.
Wooly, do you want to know why I think it's so important for the Herald of Darkness to be... Like,
Sure.
Okay, so I'm going to give everyone a spoiler warning for part of Alan Wake 2. In about 5 seconds, I'm going to talk about the section of Alan Wake 2, Chapter 4 of Alan's section. Okay, I'm going to start talking about it now. Feel free to skip forward like 2 minutes. Wooly, in Alan Wake, Alan is attempting to write his way out of Garth Marenghi's dark place. As such, he attempts various different methods, including a 5-part musical in miniature that is a large, full-scale sequence in which you run around a fucking supernatural stage as the production of the Herald of Darkness in 5 parts goes on around you.
You're backstage.
No, you're on the stage. You are performing the fucking opera. It is an astonishing sequence. It is a incredible follow-up to the ashtray maze in Control and the concert in Alan Wake 1. It is a live action full musical with
live action.
Live action.
Oh shit.
being performed by David Harewood, who is the guy who plays Mr. Door, Ikavilli, the gentleman who plays Alan Wake, Matthew Peretta, who is the voice of Alan Wake, and Sam Lake, Mr. Max Payne himself, dancing to a full goddamn musical for 20 to 30 minutes, depending on how you go through the stage, with gigantic floating fucking screens that are pacing you and go. It's incredible.
Okay. Meta beyond meta.
I've been listening to it every day for hours. The song is also fantastic. You can look at the music video online.
That helps. The cracking open the meta. I am curious if. So it sounds, by all accounts, like you've been talking about this for the last couple of weeks, and it's again this game that is culminating all of the best things of the journey so far, right?
Yeah.
And delivering on, making fun of itself and overall just and solid gameplay mixed in with all those bits and everything. Mm-hmm. Does it? I guess you won't know until you're done.
I won't know until I'm there.
But I am curious if, how we got that energy from DMC5, which was like, here's all of it, right? And then by the end of that, you're like, fuck yeah, that was awesome. That game made it feel good to be a fan of this series.
Yes.
Where do we go from here? Right?
Oh, they've literally already said out loud where we go from here.
Okay.
They put Sam, I think it was Sam. Sam Lake was on Twitter the other day and was like, here's a piece of concept art for Control 2 that we're working on right now. And it was a piece of concept art of outside of the oldest house, i.e. Control that takes place within New York City.
Right. Because I think something that you're faced with immediately after making the celebration of your franchise, is, well, the next one cannot also just be a celebration of the franchise. Yeah. Like, we just did that. We got to do something bold, new, and fucking with the best parts of what we just established.
They're also remaking Max Payne and 1 into one game, which I think is really cool.
Okay.
But yeah, no, Alan Wake 2 is like this constant thing of like, and like understanding of the total narrative is being reached by familiarity with earlier parts of their story, which is important because the narrative in Alan Wake 2 is really confusing.
Does any of it not does any of it? Does most of it feel like we are retconning good things into bad ideas, or does it feel like deliberate hooks are now coming home to like flesh themselves out?
I'll give you a micro example. So one, it definitely feels like it feels like in every game they just throw out a million hooks. Mm-hmm. And just they'll pick up the ones that they want to pick up. So in Alan Wake's American Nightmare, there's a song that from the Old Gods of Asgard in which they say it will happen again in a town called Ordinary, which happens to be a lead into Control, in which the events of Control are because of an event that happened in a town called Ordinary. Quantum Break also points out a town called Ordinary. But also they have, because of the way Alan Wake is in the context of the story of Alan Wake, narrative is reality because I'm a writer. In which there was a character in Alan Wake 1 called Thomas Zane, who was a poet. was Tom the Poet, and he was a guy who was in a similar situation to Alan with magic powers and writing poetry, right? And he looks like a diver, like a deep sea diver, because he liked deep sea diving. So he, in Visions in that game, Tom Zane like floats around, and he's got like a big glowing face, right? And then you get to Alan Wake 2, and Tom Zane doesn't look like that at all anymore, and speaks with a Finnish accent. And because he's being now played by Alan Wake's real life body actor in his voices, like Ikavili. And I'm like, and now he's a filmmaker. And I'm like, that's fucking weird that they retcon that. That's super strange. Why did they retcon that? Until I saw a poster. I just happened to see a poster on the wall that was titled Tom the Poet, a story about Thomas Zane. A film by Thomas Zane based off of the novel by Alan Wake, which doesn't make sense because the version of Tom Zane that exists as a diver predates Alan writing him as a diver
in the first game.
But since he wrote about him as a diver, that means that he is a diver, and that means inconsequential things that don't make sense are actually explained. It's very meta, and cause and effect are very confusing.
Version that you saw back in the first game was Alan's own doing. A result
of your own writing, maybe.
And now you are confronting the reality of the situation.
Unless the new book refers to him as a filmmaker, at which point an in-universe magic retcon has to occur to cause effect. So cause and effect
gotcha.
in Alan Wake 2 are extremely muddled. And as a result, I'm very confused as to what's happening in that story.
Okay.
It's great. I was talking to Chat and Paige about this, and it feels like the whole game feels like a big stand battle, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
It feels like two guys are editing one Wikipedia page.
Okay. That's a pretty good description. Yeah, okay.
I filled in the wiki. I filled in the wiki page, and then this dickhead just edited a bunch of bullshit into it, and now I have to go back and edit it back out. And I missed one. And
now the best version of what you're describing is the version in our heads from these self-acknowledging moments of again this is a bad story being written, or this is a shitty business decision that is now being reflected in the actual world, and we're doing things like spending money on getting real actors for a live action sequence to establish this whole bit. The worst version of what you're describing is the television show Lost.
Yeah.
If any of this is like Lost,
no,
dear God, man,
no, the core of Remedy's writing is that it is always going to a very, very direct point.
Awesome.
Like the entirety of Alan Wake 1 builds and builds and builds until the final line of text on the page, which is excellent.
Okay. Because just that we're gonna write ourselves into a corner, except it's not a corner. It's literally it's bait.
It's not a
everyone.
corner. It's an ocean.
It's an ocean for everyone online to start yelling about, and then we'll go and see what everyone's yelling about, and then we'll decide where to go from there. Fuck off, all of you.
No.
Awesome.
It is
okay.
It is. There's a straight line.
Nice.
And it's like this thing. Like, I'm really glad I'm streaming it because I can't possibly catch everything that is coming up. So, you have your chat there that have also been there with you, and you're like, oh, in Alan Wake 2, there's a guy from the Federal Bureau of Control fucking with little creativity magic with dolls, and he writes in his fucking reports, like, because of my history dealing with myths and heroics and the nature of stories, blah blah blah. I feel adequately prepared for this, and it's by Jay Campbell, and I didn't notice that. And then someone in chat goes, "Is that Joseph Campbell, the writer of The Hero with a Thousand Faces, being integrated into this fucking narrative as Mythman?" Are you not familiar with Joseph Campbell?
No.
He wrote The Hero of a Thousand Faces, in which he broke down the hero's journey.
Oh, okay.
Like the writing terminology, the hero's journey comes
is that
from
where is that
the
the
Hero
source
of,
of that?
Faces.
Oh, awesome. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
And it's like, oh, we're just going all sorts of places. Just all sorts of weird shit.
Interesting.
Also, I think the funniest thing is that I feel really strongly every second that you spend in that game, you're saying everyone should just stop. You know how people walk around in a story and go, "We're gonna solve it," and you go, "You should just stop doing anything."
Mm-hmm.
You should step the fuck away from that typewriter. Is what you should do. Maybe I can write my way out of it. What if you didn't? What if you just stop?
If I'm grabbing a vague recollection from Control that's probably wrong, like, is the typewriter an object of power?
So fucking lootly.
Yeah, so just don't.
Also,
okay.
You're finding FBC things that are describing oops, but don't say the word object of power in them.
I see.
So you're like, the what? Oh, it's great. Oh, it's super. Oh, what a great game. What a great game. Oh, he's a writer. And he's a good musical writer too. Like
better at musicals than schlock fiction.
He is a talented horror writer. He is a terrible thriller writer, and he's a pretty good musical theater writer.
Okay. You know, I feel like
stick to horror.
I feel like most of the things that, like, I'm thinking back to, I've seen things with musicals in them, like a couple a bit recently and a couple other times, and I feel like all the musicals I've experienced are all now ironic musicals, making fun of the idea of a musical.
Straight.
Yeah, okay. Because the idea of it's a musical is now a punchline in many things. You know, blank the musical.
Okay. Oh, I like it a lot. It's a good game. Cool. All right, so Alan Wake 2 is great. Everybody should play Alan Wake 2. That's what I think. Let's see. What else did I do this week? Oh, I played that goddamn Elden Ring randomizer. Oh my god.
Mm-hmm.
Fuck. Oh, you know what?
Yo. Okay. I saw someone posted a screenshot that my brain just like latched onto, like, oh, this is what's possible. And it was just a screenshot of a wide open fucking red zone, and it said Star Scourge Placidusax. And I was like, oh, that's good.
Oh, Wooly, I went down to Castle Morn, you know, where you fight that red guy, and fucking Moog was sitting in that goddamn boss room.
Jesus Christ. Okay. Which form?
Luckily, the easy one.
The first Moog. Okay.
The first one. So I had a fun thing that happened, and this is really great. As a broadcast story, where the Elden Ring randomizer asks that if you use it for commercial purposes, like a stream or an event, that you credit them as using the Elden Ring randomizer. So I'm like, okay, you know what? That is the most reasonable accommodation possible. So I will go down to the Elden Ring Nexus, and I will go down to the randomizer page, and I will go, hello, this randomizer is brought to us by a gentleman named The Fifth Matt. on the Elden Ring Nexus. He's done incredible work doing it. And as I am sitting on the Nexus, I am realizing that it was updated like 4 versions this afternoon after I had already got it all set up to go.
Yeah. Welcome to the world of modded Guilty Gear. Same problem. Booting it up. Oh, fuck. Live,
I was like,
go.
oh, cool. I'm really glad I came in this morning.
Nice.
To
Yeah.
make sure it all worked all nice, only to see that. Okay, let's. Hey guys, I'll be right back as I reinstall this delicate mod. It was actually really easy.
Hope nothing borked up.
So step 1, hey, installing the Elden Ring randomizer is actually really easy. Step 2 is that the options are incredibly in-depth. So the thing that the thing that it updated with was the ability to randomize all the music in the game. Oh. So all the ambient music is now switched around for all the zones. So like my Liurnia sounds like Caelid.
Okay, I guess, sure. If you really want it to be wacky party mode. Yeah.
So I loaded that up, and it is so feature complete and effortless and good. I'm shocked at how like the game crashed twice, but other than that, like it works really well, and it's so fascinating how integrated and excellent it is. Sure, I started the run, and the very first item I picked up outside the fucking first dungeon was the Bolt of Grand Sax from the end of the game, Legendary Armament. And then later on, I got Rivers of Blood, and now I'm just fucking set. So that's cool. But just the amount of care that went into what randomizes, how it randomizes, who gets put in what. I got to see that double bosses, like, one boss and the other, have had each of those they're not paired. It just says I'm going to take 2 bosses out of the double bosses pool and dump them in here.
Oh my god. Okay.
So when I walked into the tutorial, I saw a fucking Crucible Knight and a Rotten Crystallian.
Whoa.
Yeah, I got fucked.
So
I walk up to a merchant, and he's selling Gold Mask's Rune of the Golden Order that unlocks the ending of the game for 1,000 runes.
But everything so far, random though it is still completable, checked for,
and if I turn on a feature in which if I get completely stuck and can't get the lift medallions, for example, I can pay Kale some money, and he'll just ping it on my map and just here.
So this also means every chalice dungeon is got one of the random
zany stupid shit
at the end of it. Yeah, okay.
So I randomized something that I didn't understand the reality of what it would do. So I clicked one of the options that is on by default, which is randomize like field crafting items, like Roafute or Erdleaf flowers, the flowers all over the place.
Crafting, yeah.
Randomizes those. And it doesn't like have all the same positions and then you pick it up and it's a different thing. No, the model is moved around. Like where this was a Roafute, this would have been fucking Saint Trina's Blossom or whatever, right?
The flower itself actually relocates. Okay.
Yeah. But did you know that smithing stones in the walls are also part of that system? So now when you go into a mine to get crafting materials, there's just flowers coming out of all the walls.
Whoa.
Okay. And now when you're running through the field, you'll notice a piece of wall just sitting on the ground that has smithing stones. So it went from, I know exactly where to go to get upgrades for my weapons, to, oh my god, I am terrified of not getting weapon upgrades. I don't know where to get them at all. It's threatening. It's threatening. But the most crazy thing about this randomizer is that if I want to change any of those settings or re-roll the seed, I can do so and keep the same file, and it will accommodate that.
Oh, you don't corrupt what you've done so far.
No.
Okay. So it'll
if I
take
want to
every
change
item you've
settings
had.
or change the seed, just roll it again.
It'll take every item you had, and those are disappeared from their location, and then everything left, it'll change whatever those are.
Yeah. So
Wow.
that's like if you get into a situation where I'm like, I am stuck. Like it has created. There's always the possibility that it creates impossible situations.
Something you never, that they didn't test.
Like right now, I can't get into Stormvale, and the reason I can't get into Stormvale is the knight Neil from Castle Soul that summons the guy with the pole arm summons the fucking what do you call it, the two ghosts with him.
Yeah, the flag guy.
That's replaced Margit, right?
Okay.
And what I've discovered is that his summons have not been scaled down.
Oh, so he's scaled to the zone, but he's
scaled
power.
to it, but the summons are not.
Okay.
So I'm not I cannot get in. It's not gonna happen.
So two things I'm curious about. Do invasion NPCs also randomize?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And
so do their rewards.
You never know who's gonna fucking pull up where. Okay. And second, overworld torrent boss fights.
Oh, you mean like fighting fucking what was his name? Great Dragon land sacks in Egg Hill Lake?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, like that. Like fighting oh god, what was his fucking
But did we just But did we just mix up the dragon placements, or are there other?
Well, because those are categorized as roaming bosses, and there's only so many of those.
Yeah.
So they get mixed around within their own pool. I got all the death birds and all the knights cavalry are mixed with each other because those are night bosses.
Okay. Because I'm like, I think the moose as well is a torrent fight, isn't it? Right? Wait, do you fight the moose on torrent back?
No, you don't.
No. Okay, so it's the dragons, the night bosses. I guess that's it.
Yeah, they have to be inside the same pool to be randomized.
Right.
So
you're not getting an in-the-room boss pulled out into the overworld.
No,
okay.
No.
Right. Okay.
Like a catacomb bosses are catacomb bosses. Main level or high-end bosses are being remixed with main level high-end bosses.
Okay.
And so on and so forth. So in hindsight, when I saw Moog at Castle Morn, I had to know that that's technically a dungeon boss, which means that version of Moog has to be the sewer version. Because the sewer is a dungeon instead of a main, like, rune boss.
Oh, he doesn't count as, okay.
Right? And so, like, when I fought an Erdtree avatar, and it was one of those motherfucking gargoyles...
the black black tar
because those are locked in place stationary bosses, and so they get all fucked and mixed around.
Interesting.
Cool. And you can adjust you can adjust all these fucking things. One of the things that I'm going to change is I'm going to make it so that you only need one smithing stone to upgrade normal weapons, because I have found shit all for regular smithing stones because of the way that they've randomized them across locations.
You can change that value?
Yes, that's an option that you can go in where you can go, please make it so you only need one regular smithing stone for upgrades on regular weapons.
Okay. And are you able to summon in friendly NPCs for the moments
you can summon in friendly NPCs. They have their shit all reworked around. Their shit's all randomized.
So quest line NPC for quest line boss.
Oh, you're not going to fucking do the quest lines for shit.
Okay.
Those things are all fucked. They're all fucked. Because I went to Irina to get the letter, and she gave me like a fucking rock. Like any NPC quest line that requires an item, you're not completing it. It's not going to happen.
Okay. Because I'm like, so we pull in Blythe in for the final battle, or what the fuck we do?
Probably not.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough.
It's so impressive and it's so fun. What's funny though, if I discovered near the end of my stream, if you want to actually get levels for your character, because it's hard, like it's much harder, right? Remixed enemy placement makes some rooms just completely incompletable without running through. You just can't deal with it, right? But what you discover is that Greyol the dragon is part of the map, not an enemy spawn.
Greyol is
the gigantic fucking dragon that gives you 100k runes if you kill her with the bleed weapon early in the game.
Big Mama, yes, okay, right.
She's part of the map. She can't be moved around. The game crashes.
No, that makes sense. Zuli the Witch has shown us that the game cannot handle her standing up.
Hey, I have a bleed weapon. As soon as I start my next randomizer stream, I am hitting the minimum stats for Rivers of Blood, baby.
Okay.
And it's go time from there.
Guaranteed farm.
It also changes the context of the game, because in default Elden Ring, it's like, let's explore everywhere. What could it be? And in this, it's like, I need to get the bare minimum items I can get to exist. And now I need to beeline my way to the biggest bosses I can get a hold of and try and just get to the end of the game as in a straight line as possible.
Yeah. Interesting. Huh.
It's so cool. It's so cool. Also, in so doing, I don't know if I talked about it last week, it's still crazy to me that there are now 2 full, complete overhauls of Elden Ring already on the Nexus.
I mean, it's been...
Did I talk about that last week, or was that on my stream? I can't remember.
You mentioned that people were talking about completing them. It was like a one-liner, yeah.
It's just like there's Convergence and there's Reforged, and they're fully complete total overhauls for a game that never even got its DLC yet. Like, calm down, people. How many times can you go through Elden Ring? The game is like 150 hours long.
Doesn't DS3 have like 10?
Yeah, and the thing is that because the people who made these DS3 mods then moved to Elden Ring, which is the same. Like mechanically, they were able to skip a bunch of the pre-work and get right to making it.
Like game devs on a console, like we're holding our shit, our new shit, ready to drop as soon as you give us the
we talked about last week. The gentleman who made a seamless co-op for Elden Ring is working on seamless co-op for Armored Core because it's the same guts,
almost 1-to-1. Yeah. I gotta use the bathroom again.
I also do.
All right.
Hooray.
All right. Quick word from our
Let's see what
sponsors.
else. Oh wait. Oh, sponsors. I love sponsor. I love
Let's do that,
sponsor.
and then jump back in. Yeah. We're not supposed to take too long to get to these, but you know.
Oh no, it's been 2 hours. No, 2.5. Oh no.
Sometimes you meander.
Forgot how much I love sponsor.
This week the podcast is sponsored by Stitch Fix, and Stitch Fix is getting the clothes on your body. Base needs, everybody. Base needs. Fabric on your body keeps you from succumbing to the elements.
Keeps you from getting arrested.
I recommend clothing 9 times out of 10. And when people have to see you in that clothing, you should look good. You should look cool. Okay. Looking good and cool is a nice benefit, but just not looking horrendous is actually the real goal. You know? It's not about
raising that ceiling, it's about raising the floor.
Dropping the floor, baby. That's
Come on,
it.
man.
You know? 0 is acceptable. But we do what we can. Stitch Fix is basically going to get a bunch of experts to make you look better by having you fill out a quiz to explain what your tastes are, what you like, what kind of brands work with you, what you love, and of course what your budget is, as well as your sizes. And then they'll get to work putting together some stylist selected options for you to check out. You'll get to check them out, sent to you. You put them on, you see how it looks, you rock it, and whatever you like, you keep. Whatever you don't, you send back, hassle-free, and just like that, you look stylish. The experts can figure you out. You know, sometimes you hit the randomizer button, looking at the mirror, and you're like, oh God, what game am I playing today? And if it's the randomizer from Street Fighter 6, that's you don't want to walk outside in the streets like that.
I don't want to.
You know. Other times it's I don't know, Soul Calibur, where it's like, oh hey, all right, that's not too bad. The point here is you got over 1,000 brands and styles that are gonna be that they can choose from for your liking. Head to toe, you got different seasons as well. It's getting near winter, but you've got them around the year for you to check out and make sure wherever you show up, whenever you decide to make yourself seen in person, they're like, oh shit, looking all right. So, don't trust your own sense of style when you can get the experts to dress you up. Have you looking like a snack.
That's what I did. Look at me now.
Have you looking like a snack. It's real simple. Stitch Fix. They'll just get you. If you go try Stitch Fix today, you can try it at stitchfix.com/superbeast, and you'll get 25% off when you keep everything in your fix. That's stitchfix.com/superbeast. Once again, stitchfix.com/superbeast. Thank you.
I love you, Stitch Fix.
Cha-ching is the sound of this week being sponsored by Shopify.
Hell yeah!
Real simple. When you start your business, in this case, you start podcasting, you start YouTubing, whatever we're doing here, an online store is nowhere even remotely close to what we're thinking about.
It's hard.
It is not at all something that I ever considered, and you know, it's very difficult to figure that shit out on the back end, especially. And yes, when you're like, I got a cool like t-shirt idea though, it's like, that's cool, but how do you actually get it to people? Well, with something like that, this is where Shopify can come in and help you do it the easy way. If you are working in, if you're trying to expand your business to get to different sales options and things like that, global commerce platforms, can help you, like Shopify in particular, because they're going to help you from the smallest to the largest scale that your business is going to go to. You know, if you have just one basic thing you need to get out to people, or if you need to have a full-sized shop with multiple options and different types of coverage for your shipping and returns and all of that stuff, Shopify has you covered. They've got an all-in-one e-commerce platform, in-person POS system, so you can sell whatever to wherever. They've got tons of support as well.
I need support. I don't know what I'm doing.
You're gonna need to, if you're gonna need to talk to support. They've got award-winning support to help you figure out what to do and how to grow your business and such. And yeah, they're powering 10% of all e-commerce in the U.S. So, you know, they're behind a number of sites, and they're also spread out to over 175 countries. If you want to get your business up and running, check out Shopify. Sign up for a $1 per month trial at shopify.com/superbeast, all lowercase. That's shopify.com/superbeast now to grow your business no matter what stage you're in. Shopify.com/superbeast. Cha-ching.
I love you, Shopify.
Thank you. This week, the podcast is sponsored by Uncommon Goods, and you know why. It's that holiday season. People are starting to figure out what to look for. They're trying to figure out how to
Buy
shop.
presents. I don't know what I'm doing.
Starting to panic. Stress.
I'm starting to panic.
The music you hear at the mall or the pharmacy is starting to put the pressure on, and you're like, God damn it. Now I got to think about what to get and how to and everybody knows if you get the same old lame things and you're not putting, you know, they're going to be like, yeah, you know, you did it. It's the thought that counts, right? Well, how about if it was the thought that counted, but also if it was something pretty cool and unique? You know, that's why, like, legitimately, yeah, Uncommon Goods. I've been pushing them for a minute here. That's a solid recommend for finding small gifts that are from small artists, so a couple independent places and stuff, usually made in the U.S. Stuff that is that's often also made like small scale and number too. So, you know, some of the cool stuff might sell out if you are not on top of it. But yeah, it's usually cool, out of the ordinary gifts. You know, stuff that can go jewelry, kitchen, home, bar, you know, stuff for the house, stuff for like games, stuff for just whatever the category is. When you go check out the website, there's like a ton of categories to pick from. And yeah, whatever the people you're shopping for in your life are into, you can find some unusual different things that stand out.
And you can get these Uncommon Goods through the internet, correct?
You get them through the internet. That's the good part.
So hey, if you out there, person listening to this, do you have an anxiety attack when you hear Mariah Carey? You won't have to listen to her now.
There you go.
She's out there waiting for you.
Mariah Carey is like there's a meter that builds up of stress as soon as you're within ear range of it, and you can defeat that.
Frenzy.
It's absolutely frenzy building up. You know, it's the mind flayers. Ooh, ooh. You don't have to worry about any of that because the Queen of Christmas can stay out where she is. You can safely order from inside, and as a nice little benefit, every purchase you make at Uncommon Goods, they give $1 back to a nonprofit partner of your choice. They've donated over $2.5 million to date. So, yeah, shop for something unusual for your friends and family. To get 15% off your next gift, go to uncommongoods.com/superbeast. That's uncommongoods.com/superbeast for 15% off. Don't miss out on this limited time offer. Uncommon Goods is all out of the ordinary. Thank you.
I love you, Uncommon Goods.
And last but not least, we got DoorDash because food needs to get brought to you. And It's kind of amazing, but it's sometimes you forget. Sometimes you might actually forget. There are days when every waking moment is spent trying to devour everything I can get my hands on. But there's also days where I'm like in the middle of doing so much shit that I'm like, what even happened today? Oh my God, I'm hungry. I didn't realize it.
I forget at least once a week to eat for an entire day. And then I'm so hungry and upset that acquiring food is a stressful and anxiety-inducing process.
It's sometimes you sit down and you don't feel it until you get up and your body's like, whoa, where you think you're going, buddy? All right? DoorDash. You click, you order, you scroll through, you find the places you like to eat from, you find the restaurants you like to order. Mom and pops, regular go-tos, local chains, things that are all in all, or even new in the neighborhood. And you get yourself your food order straight to your door, dropped off, secretly, silently, even if you want no contact delivery.
No one's going to judge my takeout snake meal.
Just you and your doorbell camera. Which you can rewatch for your own shame purposes. No, it's just it's
there's a party going on. Oh, we got God,
yeah.
quiet down back there,
you
guys.
I got them. Don't worry.
Yeah,
Okay.
I got all of it for all of you.
God. The shame music. Yeah. No cars in the driveway. No other lights in the house are on. Dead black, pitch black house, except for just the front light porch when you're grabbing the. Keep it up. So in particular, DoorDash this holiday season, you could use code BEASTHOLIDAY to get 50% off up to a $10 value when you spend $15 or more at convenience grocery or select retail stores on DoorDash. Terms apply. You are once again able to get in there with code BEASTHOLIDAY. So
I like that code. That's a good code.
Dash Pass is also available as well. As a Dash Pass member, you can enjoy exclusive offers and perks for all season long stocking stuffers, decor, groceries, meals, and more. You'll also get a $0 delivery fee and reduced service fees on eligible orders too. So, once again, shop DoorDash to get everything you need for the holiday season. Use code BEASTHOLIDAY to get 50% off up to a $10 value when you spend $15 or more at convenience grocery or select retail stores on DoorDash. Terms apply. Thank you, DoorDash.
Thanks, DoorDash.
All right. You were saying.
Let's see, what else did I do? I played Like a Dragon Gaiden a little bit more, and you know when you're playing something that was gonna be DLC and then they turned it into a full thing, and you're wondering when you're gonna hit the part of the game where you're like, ooh, this is where they filled it in.
Silk Song, rip.
Yeah, I hit that part. That part is there's 5 chapters in Like a Dragon Gaiden. And that part is chapters 2, 3, and 4.
The part where they filled it in?
Yeah. So, Like a Dragon Gaiden was supposed to be DLC for 7. They're like, hey, what was Kiryu up to? Right?
Oh, you mean the man who erased his name?
Yeah, the man who erased his name. Like a Dragon Gaiden. Yes, and in chapter 1 and some parts of 2, you're like, yeah, wow, it was like a regular story. And then for the second half of 2 and 3 and also 4, they're like, some stuff happened, I guess. And you gotta, there's a guy and he's in your way. And
we got time to kill.
Just killing time.
We got time to kill.
It's also getting funnier and funnier and funnier and funnier. In that you still have characters going, wow, Kiryu, wow, Joryu, you're the greatest ever, and you never killed anybody. And then we have a cutscene in which Joryu Jazuma is Spider-Manning around with his wrist energy.
I was about to ask. Yep.
And just shooting a bunch of guys in the fucking chest with a pistol. And I guess they're fine. And like you see the bullet come out of them, like it's straight through and through, just empties a whole clip into a bunch of goons.
Like, I'm full on expecting a goddamn spin the sticks to Kratos the head off of the spine at this point.
He's fine. Don't worry about it. Like, you played Zero, right? Did you remember the part where he just shoots all those guys in those cars?
I mean,
and like some of them get run over, like the tire goes over their head?
Well, the heat actions in general are just fucking, they're X-ray attacks in Mortal Kombat, you know? Like, they're horrendously violent. Absolutely.
I want to point out that in 6, the game in which like a character actually like looks at him and goes, the reason why you're the greatest is that you've never killed anyone. That is like immediately followed by him like blowing up a helicopter with a rocket launcher.
I can see their parachutes. They're going to be okay.
Like that is like 5 minutes apart. It's so crazy. It's still a lot of fun though. I mean, it's like a dragon. You know what it is. Okay. Yeah. Joryu Jazuma.
And never forget the Batmobile taser is completely and utterly safe to all civilians.
So the other thing is so you know when you have two projects that deal with the same game and you can tell one group of people really cared a lot more. Like a lot more.
Uh-oh.
So I talked about it a little bit last time. You go to the arcade and Fighting Vipers 2 is there and Sonic the Fighters is there. And they're really good ports of Fighting Vipers 2 and Sonic Fighters. Like, even the scanline filter they use is really classy.
Mm-hmm.
And then you find in a side room of some random house a Sega Master System that has like dozens and dozens of games. And they're really good ports of these Sega Master System games.
So not just the usual Outrun and Afterburner like arcades and I feel like, what's the other one? Where you're on foot, but it's just
3D World Runner. I think that's what you're thinking of.
Maybe, yeah. But I feel like it those are the, we don't mind if everybody plays these and everything.
But yeah, no, it's just like they're really, and like you can find like, oh, like as a collectible, you unlocked a Master System ROM.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like there's a full Master System collection in this game that is excellent, that you could sell as a separate thing, that I don't think exists. I don't think you can buy a Master System collection. But if you play like Dragon Gaiden, you can find it.
Whereas, like a Dragon 8, you cannot.
No. It'll be something else. They'll include fucking Virtua Fighter 3 TB or something.
I was waiting to. I was sitting on that one. I was waiting till 3TB online. Actually, I'll have you know that the online version of Virtua Fighter 3 TB, available as of tomorrow, the 28th, exclusively in Japanese arcades for those of you who could not get enough Virtua Fighter 3 tournament battle mode in your lives.
What a strange game. What a weird game.
Okay. I mean, I know who I'm talking to, but if you feel like glass half fulling it, the only potential, there's many realities where this glass is empty as fuck, but if you are trying to silver line at all you can think, well, they tried, they ported 5, and they did a horrible job. And maybe they're like, let's take another crack at it, but we'll do it with a different, older game. And maybe we do it right this time around.
If this leads to Virtua Fighter 6 with rollback, anything. I'll take anything.
Okay.
I should mention, I hate Virtua Fighter 3 Team Battle. I think it is the worst Virtua Fighter game.
Yeah. Everyone. We all do. No one literally no one I know. No one that cares about Virtua Fighter amongst the few likes Virtua Fighter 3 TV. Like, no, absolutely.
It is so bad. It's not just bad. It's like the worst idea for a fighting game ever. Like you take a fighting game that people have a main that they play for 25 years and never pick anyone else on the character select screen, and you go, "What if you did 5v5?" Like, shut up! I don't even know the moves of 2 characters in that series.
I think me and my friends all had the same moment where we booted it up on the Dreamcast port, and like the first level that loaded up, I think, was like the Great Wall of China stage, but it's on a slope, so you're fighting on like a fucking staircase in the fighting, and it was just like, what the fuck are we doing? Like, you're on the high ground permanently because you're player 1. What? Like, what? It was madness. It was some fucking
it's like
crazy shit they did.
It's also bananas, like 5v5 in a game that has like 11 characters. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah. Well, okay, whatever. It's Japanese arcades only for a very particular group of people.
They can keep it. They can fucking keep it. Yeah, but that's it for me this week. The randomizer is incredible, and one of the best mods I've ever played in my life. Genuinely astonishing. And Alan Wake is a fucking triumph. It is a Remedy is the best. I love Remedy so much. They are great. Finland is cool. Oh, I should mention.
Yeah.
They're Alan Wake 2. So in Max Payne, you would never know. In Alan Wake, you would never know. But you get to fucking Control, and then there's Ahti, the janitor, who speaks in complete nonsense expressions I've never heard, with the thickest Finnish accent I've ever heard in my fucking life. And then you get to Alan Wake 2, in which they've given up and they're like, no, we're from Finland. We have a fucking whole town of Finns. You've got Ilmo and Jakob talking about the sauna. They're everywhere. And they're like, yeah, we're not Swedish. It's different.
Does Sam Lake have a thick accent?
What's that, sorry?
Does Sam Lake have a thick accent?
He's got an accent, but I wouldn't call it thick because he's been speaking English primarily for a long time. But like, for example, like Thomas Zane is now played by the body actor who plays Alan Wake, who's a guy named Ika Villi. So Tom Zane went from sounding like Max Payne to sounding like a guy with an incredibly thick Finnish accent. Because fuck it, Finland.
Okay.
Like you get to go down to the sauna for collectibles. You go down to Coffee World because the Finns love their coffee.
Coffee.
Yeah.
Cool.
You know what? I'm going to say it. I don't know why sauna was anglicized as sauna. Sauna, way more fun. Way more fun. Go down to the sauna. It's great.
Yeah, there's the feeling of the accent. Also, a little bit in Netherlands as well is one where you're like, I feel like that's a word I recognize, but it should have an umlaut on it.
Yeah, probably.
But what's going on this week?
What? Oh, right. The exact same thing as last week. Literally the exact same thing on all the same days. Alan Wake, Like a Dragon Gaiden, Alan Wake, Elden Ring Randomizer. Go down to twitch.tv/PatStaresAt for those things. They're good things.
Okay. Right. And so, yeah, what is going on? So we touched on Virtua Fighter 3 TB. We can, you know, we can check that one off.
We can just check that off.
And it was briefly touched on.
Let's pour one out for poor goddamn Lythero. So, Lythero, a good guy, funny guy, put out a video saying, God damn it, here's a joke that was going to come out in tomorrow's video about how fake and not real Rollback for DBZ is.
DBFZ's Steam Rollback beta announced November 30th to December 1st. So it is happening. They're all getting it in there before the end of the year, right? Everyone's doing it. We're getting our fucking our Grand Blue, the KOF, our Under Night. Everyone is squeezing it in.
It is wild how after like 450 days or something, they just go, it's now.
Feels like it's
very little lead up.
Mm-hmm. Not rollback related, but KOF is also KOF. Killer Instinct is also getting its update.
That's today.
So it feels like.
Are you saying Killer Instinct's getting rollback?
Killer Instinct is not. Well, no. Killer Instinct is just getting update. It's not a rollback update. It's just It's just a patch. Yeah. But I feel like it's been like 5 straight weeks of like every weekend has been a particular fighting game getting some sort of patch or something or a test. So yeah, there you go. Starting in a couple days this weekend, the Dragon Ball Fighters rollback beta.
Hey, I got a question for you. Now, I know you haven't particularly kept up to date, but I played DBFZ at release, and I was like, wow, I love this so much. These matches are terrible. And then I stopped playing it. And now that the rollback is on its way, how wide should I pull my ass apart? Should this be measured in centimeters or inches?
Okay. The good news is if you resume where you left off, you should be fighting against people that are your peers, hypothetically, who are also jumping in at a time when a new update has happened. So there will be people that are also not that good around your level that you'll be matched up with. Right. However, that pool will be very limited, and the diameter of your anus will increase exponentially in 1 or 2 afternoons tops.
Because I have to say, incredibly happy that DBFZ is getting rollback. The game getting rollback multiple years after its release is like the worst case scenario for people on this side of the equation.
It has firmly landed and been in Marvel territory of like, oh bitch, get motivated, white boy. Get fucking motivated. Like, we've been here. Yeah, dude, you get touched. You get touched and you're getting cooked.
I was actually hoping that we would, instead of this game getting rollback jammed in, that we would have gotten a sequel that had it so we could all start
from scratch. Start from scratch. Hey, everybody, you want to go back to the starting line? No? Yeah, it's no, I would say like if you're doing like player matches or like Discord matches or whatever, you're beasts to the left
that's
of
a
you,
totally different thing.
Monsters to the right. But if you're just hitting ranked and getting matched up, with the exception of everyone on their Smurf accounts, of which there will be many, because some fuckers just love to see the world burn, and Smurfs love to just, get in that ass. Yeah, it's gonna be brutal. Dragon Ball is like, oh god, dude, high level Dragon Ball is so fucking hopeless. It's so hopeless. Hold a button to tech in the right direction. Try to get your deflect out if you can. But okay, here's how you know. Okay, I'll tell you. Here's a quick tip. If they activate sparking early on their first character, you're fucked. They know what they're doing, and you're fucked.
Oh no!
When you see early sparking activation, It's not the comeback mechanic for the end of the match, but it's the round 1 touch of death first character setup. Just, yeah. Prepare.
Well, I don't know. I don't know what to do that. I don't know what to do that.
I'm looking forward to just, I love me some 16. I love me some hit. And then fill in the blanks with whatever function can support those two. Probably Super Broly, because I like his style. Those are the characters I think are cool. Synergy, probably garbage, but they're cool. Yeah. Also, fighting game stuff. We had Virtua Fighter. We had that announcement, and then hey, Street Fighter Costume 3.
Wow.
We heard your complaints, the direct complaints I made into the microphone the week before. Capcom said, we got you. Bam. And they're great. Okay, so here's the thing, though. There's great, and then there's a different feeling. When I see Kimberly, I go, not only is that great, that's what she should be.
Oh.
Kimberly,
I've got one for you.
Is what she should have been. I get why it's not, because that blue fro Kimberly is also giving off way more Ibuki ninja energy than Guy Bushin Ryu. But god damn, is it good.
I think
Lily?
Okay, Lily's costume is not supposed to be a tax. Okay? Like, the way Lily is designed is, do you want to play Lily? Do you want to be happy about your choice? You buy Costume 3. It's mandatory. It's genuinely upsetting because you look at the way the character's head looks and it's like,
the hair.
That's obviously what you should have done. This should have been the default. This is ridiculous.
Like a real person.
A real person.
She looks like a real person. Yes, some people have like baby face toddler head, looks. And I know people that have that in their 20s and such that are just like still like puffy cheeks and big forehead and stuff.
And you look at her and then you say, you got baby face toddler head. Get out of my house.
Like, nah, man. Her Alt 3 actually looks like a human being. Like, it's fucking good. And they tease them. Obviously, there's the ones that are just like, yeah, like winners across the board. You have Manon in her I say Lady Un, but also you can go right Lady Un or Ivy Costume 2. Would take your pick, but looking fucking fantastic with that and the drills. I even Ryu, where it's like, okay, we had a couple ways to play this. I wish they kept the beard on him. It's a bummer they got rid of the beard, but still, like, yeah, Ryu is like probably the weakest of the set, and it's fine.
Definitely,
and it's
definitely.
They a lot of them feel like they were inspired by the Street Fighter Duel like hip hop art, which made everybody want to see that. So Dalsim looks like he's straight out of Portland. He's got the fucking beanie on. He's got the loose fitting like open shirt and the chains, and it's just like casual chai sim. I mean, when have fucking Zangief players eaten better?
This is the best Geef costume of all time.
I can't think of a single time
it's easily the best Geef costume that's ever been.
It is unbelievable for him. It's such a good look. Geef, all about his business. Are you fucking kidding me? So good, And then yes, man, the lady at the altar. With the fucking with the mohawk as well, Marissa coming in, the dress, all of it.
She doesn't have a mohawk, man. She's got a ponytail.
But her hair's done up in a she's doing the like gladiator style mohawk thing. She's got the kind of like a Corinthian helmet.
I saw it. It's okay. Oh, no, that's great. She's still a gladiator helmet, but it's just a different helmet.
Different. It's a Corinthian. Yes. Yeah. It's great.
I look at that Marissa costume and I'm like, man, I think Marissa's really cool, except I actually hate her stupid haircut. I fucking hate it. So I saw that and I'm like, oh, thank God. Finally, a costume that does not have it.
Sure. If you ever wanted a waifu that reminds you of tall geese, then here you go. God damn, all in white with the red going at the top. Yeah, you know. What if I wanted to marry tall geese though?
What if?
Yeah, man. And
I'm really glad they give Jury a costume that makes it look like she stinks.
Rancid. You can
that thing has never been washed.
Yeah,
never.
Yeah. No, it honestly is. Like everyone across the board is like getting good shit. Like that's a nice like pack of like no real losers. You know, very very strong candidates there. And again, like even the ones where you're like, okay, it's like Chun-Li is like, oh, that's nice. You know. It's not like Chun-Li's had like fucking dozens of costumes over the years. Street Fighter V, she had more than anybody, so you know it's almost a meme at this point. But like, I think I'm like, yeah, that looks fine, and it's not a weird like Red Bull like turn you into another character outfit thing going on either, and it's not the insane space cop costume concept that we saw either. So but it's you know it's casual wear, it's fine. And the I feel as if some of these costumes too are like especially when I look at Guile, it's like, okay, we're doing a little bit of that SNK thing, you know, we're dressing you down a little bit, and dressing your fighting game characters down is just a fun way to do it. Yeah, costume 3 looking fucking good finally. And I'm glad.
Blanca's costume going to be like playable in things?
Oh,
you sure?
Best ever.
They're not going to ban it?
Old Blanca-chan is an Avatar costume. New Blanca-chan has got the overalls, and everybody can Blanca-chan it the fuck up.
Okay.
Absolutely. Best decision.
I think Cammy's is my favorite Cammy costume that I've ever seen also. Because I always thought her look with the coat on was way better than any of the others.
And just from the anime, from a little moment in the start of the anime where she tosses it off and does the neck breaker. It's like, what a cool reference to get in there. I'm really glad they got it. Yeah. And you know, DJ's looking cool. Like, not much to it. It's just
that costume looks a lot better in game than it does in its art. I was a little like worried about it.
Conversely, Honda looks better in art than it does in game.
Yeah, he's okay.
The crooked hat makes him look like a detective almost. It's all in the little hat, you know. But he's on vacation. He's doing his thing. But I still argue that Honda would not even be here if he wasn't a world warrior. So it is what it is. You know. Ken just like, it's cool. It's not what I would imagine Ken would do, but it's all right, you know. And everyone's going, it's Max, and it's like, yeah, he's got the it's just because I guess the thing is like I feel like Ken in super tight like fancy clothes hasn't been much of a thing. Like even when he dressed fancy in other artwork, it's been like loose fancy, you know. So, but yeah, he's doing it. And I guess we'll see all the DLC later on. So everyone at Rashid and up is going to drop with Akuma, is what they said.
Makes sense.
Yeah, looking good. All right. Beyond that, what's going on? Well, hey, I have to say this story is one that it's so simple, but I'm surprised we took so long to get to this point. Ubisoft is apparently experimenting with pop-ups for ads in the middle of your gameplay. And they say it was a technical error, but there's footage
Shut the fuck up. You
footage
lying
of someone
sack
just
shit.
Running through Assassin's Creed, and then a full screen pop-up for an ad for a game just pops up. Just bloop,
yeah, I want to. So what happens is the gentleman goes, "Hey, I'm playing my video game. Oh, I need to check my map," and hits map, and a full screen pop-up pops up that goes, "Hey motherfucker, do you want to play Mirage?" And he's like, "What?" And has to close out of the ad to get to his map.
And it's like, it's so straightforward. It's so simple. It's like, yeah, we're gonna put an ad in your full-priced game. Here it is, right? Like,
Here it is.
It's just a simple, basic concept for marketing, and I'm just like, oh, we're here. I expected to be here a long time ago.
Of course,
I think.
it's Ubisoft.
But yet here we are now. They say, yeah, that was again a technical error. We are aware of the problem. Yada yada. What if like that sounds like almost then it like if there is any version of that where like, oops, you weren't supposed to see that. It almost sounds like when you're doing a network-wide test on the back end and you're doing it not on the live servers, but you're doing stuff on test servers like that. It almost feels like there's like an accidental like, oops, this might have went live in a small circumstance for seeing.
Yeah, the technical error is that it was turned on when it wasn't supposed to be turned on.
That's what I'm exactly. The feature is there. There's an ability to put an ad into the game on your pause screen whenever they want to, and a test or something went wrong that activated that. But there is a feature there, and I suppose this is where it's like, okay, so is this because at some point they're like, oh well, if we ever made the game free, we'd want to be able to insert the ability to put ads to support. Fuck off. It's quite clearly just like, yeah, this is a thing that you might see more and more of in every one of these games because it's Ubisoft. And we're here now. We're here at the place where you might pay full price for a game and still fucking see the ads. I remember when was it FIFA was like, oh, the stuff on the sideboards when you're playing, would be like, hey, there's ad space they can rent out for sports games on the court or on the field or on the pitch and all that stuff. And that was a story maybe 2015 or so. And now we're blowing right past that, like, oh, it's kind of immersive because sports games do have sponsors, yada yada, straight into full screen, click here for homescapes, to click here to free the Spike Man from the cage. Oh no, quickly click the button, watch the homescapes ad.
Danny O'Dwyer is putting up I forget what the name of Danny O'Dwyer's documentary series is, but they're doing a sequence on NHL 94 as the best hockey game of all time. And I remember No Clip. And it's like, I remember playing NHL 94.
Hockey would like to have a couple words with you.
What's that, sir?
Wayne Gretzky's 3D hockey would like to have a couple words with you.
But like, NHL 94 came out before a lot of people listening to this were born. And that was the year before roster updates and create a character existed, because that was 95. And it's of note to be like, man, fucking sports games, like, woo, those used to be the shit. And now they have been like commodified into the worst thing ever, right? And part of that was like the trend of, well, real players and real rosters and the trading and the sports watching sports has ads, so we can just advertise everything in the fucking sports has commercials, when you watch sport, like TiVo wasn't invented to skip commercial breaks on football games and hockey games.
It's always been kind of hilarious that the genre that could benefit the most from updates and not buying the game again in 12 months, sports games, because a roster update is what most people care about.
Yeah.
Are actively the genre that goes as far out of the way as they can to crush that and to make it as annualized as possible.
Oh, and like, it's also funny because that's what you're seeing is like, you download it and every 2 or 3 years, you get like the PC version comes out and like you load it up and people are like, you forgot to change the number inside the game. Like, there are menus that are still of last year that say last year's number on it. God, like, that's how fucking lazy sports games have become.
You know, like they could have even like with that greed, like pitched like a monthly subscription platform to
Yeah,
like
the
a
monthly
season.
subscription platform is every 12 months you buy the exact
You
same
buy
game again.
the new thing. Yes, exactly. That's it. You know, but I just like playing God, Madden, oof, was it like 2000 on the PC? I don't, there was a year where we were just like, I remember me and my brother were like interested in like updating the rosters manually and stuff, and it was like, oh yeah, like there's a bunch of people that just do that if they're on the version because you go in and shit. But don't even want a new system, don't need a new cover, don't need new music, don't need new anything, just want a roster update because that's what we cared about, you know. And yeah, it's now the absolute worst case of bilking you every 12 months. And if you're in there, you're in there. They got you, especially now that they have fantasy fans brought in as well, because if you're fantasy drafting and shit like that, like there's people that are like, if they're not even playing for the gameplay mode, they're doing career mode stuff and just doing the management side, you know. So that's crazy. Anyway, I fully expect, you know, seeing as this is every time Ubisoft tips toes, they creep up to it. Yeah, full price game, full sized ads. It's there. It's already in the game.
You know, Wooly, I don't know if it's on the docket this week because you may not have caught it. But speaking of, we're here now. You know, I've been rooting for berries and other things for multiple seasons now.
Oh, that was
I
right
like
next,
to make
my
jams.
friend.
I sell them in town.
Are you a fan of jams?
I am.
So right up there, we talked about Silent Hill Ascension not too long ago.
We did.
And the pricing system, the fact that it was just you sit and watch a thing and then you lobby actually to have you lobby to have your votes count for more than the average citizen, because
So we talked about all that stuff, right? But in the interim, this past week, I've actually seen a proportion of this program, and I was not aware that it was an uncanny valley, poorly made piece of fucking shit.
So Voidburger on Twitter posts a clip saying Silent Hill Ascension is absolutely written by AI, and I cannot be convinced otherwise. This random NPC pops in, declares he's berry hunting, says he's seen weird shit and doesn't expound on it, provides no information, leaves for more berries. Goodbye forever, Berry Man. And the clip is exactly as described.
It's nonsense. It's baffling nonsense on a couple of levels. One, a human writer would never include this like, it is a total non sequitur. It's baffling. Two, his dialogue is so strange and inhuman. And three, people were digging through the developers' LinkedIns and found out that they love the concept of multi-actor AI-driven narrative structures with user engagement.
So at this point, there was a link to, Bob's vids posted here, a LinkedIn article where Stefan Vladimir Bugaj of Genvid Holdings talked about massively interactive line events which human and autonomous AI characters interact to create simulated narratives with the course shaped through user engagement and participation. Genvid Holdings, of course, being the ones who worked on Silent Hill Ascension. So it is not only pretty much confirmed at this point that's what's happening. It's like even if the writing was normal, human made, and this was the product they put out, everything about the whole voting system bullshit was already horrendous to begin with. And now it's like also on the back end, it's not even real. So the whole experiment appears to be how to make any money off of the Corpse franchise with spending
I don't know
zero?
if you saw, but a while ago, they were talking about how like it's a one-time thing. We could never run it again. You know,
Did
and it's
they?
like,
I
why
didn't see
why
that.
can't you run it again? Is it because it's being fucking made up by stupid robots on the fly?
Would you say that would you call this a sobering experience? Would you say that woke you up by any chance?
Uh-huh. I think the most incredible part is it's not the jams clip. There's a different piece of Silent Hill Ascension going around that is even more busted than I like to make jams, man. Have you seen the bit where the little girl runs in to yell at her parents?
I have not.
So there's a moment in which a small girl walks in to yell at her parents, and like, you don't yell to get what you want, young lady. And she goes, that's what you do. Ah. And the whole thing is like really strange and stilted. But where it really just jumps the shark of, wait, what is actually going on with the production of this, is that the mom leans down to tell her to go to her room, and the child full on slaps mom in the face and goes, I don't listen to you, blah, blah, blah. But the part that matters is that mom isn't close enough for the child to hit her. So when the child starts to swing, mom Han Solos into place. Like her neck snaps forward
Teleports.
so that she can get slapped, and then it jerks back.
God. Oh. Yeah.
And it's like no one would fucking build that
scene that way. Oh my God. Of course. Man. From top to bottom. From the bottom to top.
Hill Ascension. Let's see if I can find the clip.
The memory won't escape me. Oh my God. Literally every angle of the, like, that's crazy, Konami. That's crazy. Like, you're not even making it, and
found it,
and no one can play it. But pay us though.
Here, Wooly, I have a Reddit post I'm sending to you just for your own personal knowledge. Go ahead and skip to 37 seconds. You don't need sound. You just need to see that weird head jerk of like, well, who the fuck?
All right.
Yeah. I'm glad the mom knew she was going to get slapped so that she could lean in for it.
Arguing, talking.
It's the 30.
Yeah. Okay. I see it.
And it's just like,
all
like,
right.
come on, this isn't real. Like, like, you didn't think Konami could be cheap enough? Holy cow! Here comes a new one.
Well, so the thing is that there's two ways to play it, right? With Genvid Holdings here is like either you hold this shit to the chest and you explain what you're doing to save money behind the scenes and get companies excited, or you advertise it loudly and proudly on LinkedIn and you get everybody else who's interested in having this type of shit call you in to do similar for them, you know?
I think we're really turning. I think we're turning somewhere here on the AI. First of all, the big studios lost most of their AI provisions in the last SAG-AFTRA argument, in the writing argument. Second of all, judges in the United States on copyright have ruled that a human has to make something for it to be copyrighted.
And so, and I guess this is where that bit about like partnered systems that Microsoft is investing in starts to come into play, because it's like, here, how do we team you up as a human being with oversight and an AI next to you, you know, or something to that effect.
We're now at part 3, which is my favorite part, which I don't know if you see this, but hey, I'm a completely AI singer-songwriter. Here's my song, or shit like this. and the overwhelming response is, yo, this looks like shit.
I mean,
Like, AI's not gonna fucking get any traction if everyone's gut reaction is like, yo, this is ass.
so I stealthily attempted to work a transition, a segue over there, by asking you about waking up, because there was a clip that also went around this week of from a Naruto game where there's a clip of Naruto talking to Sasuke, and he goes, "Did that wake you up?" And then it cuts to like a flashback from a previous game, and it's meant to be a memory moment, because when you're playing the Ultimate Ninja Storm games, you can click the button to do a memory and so on. And then Miley Flanagan, the voice actor for Naruto, she like went like, where the fuck did this come from? This isn't, you know, I definitely, the voice director would not have had me record this. And then everyone went, oh shit, is this like, did they straight up just generate that young Naruto line for the transition? And then people tried to follow up, to which point I guess Miley kind of went, you know, I don't want to talk about this any further. Actually, the game is fine. Leave it alone. Leave it alone. Please stop. And you know, it feels like she had an initial reaction, and then like probably got a couple phone calls about you know, her contract or whatever the case is, and like, you know, back down from that immediately. But absolutely, you know, at the exact same time that was happening. The BAM cops were not too happy with that, you know. Yeah, man. I think I think the way you put it last time as well was like, we are week 2 of Silent Hill Ascension, which has been committed for
15 weeks.
Like, this has to play out slowly.
And hey, I have a part of it. I went back and looked at some of their statements, and there's a part of it that I missed, which is when they said, you know, it could end early depending on your choices. And it's like, oh, are you not sure that your fucking generative algorithm can make it to 16 parts? Is it possible that it'll hit like 12 and just go, bro?
I mean, it seems insane to think they don't have somebody that's going, okay, green light that generated outcome, you know?
Oh, I'm sure they are. But when there's no one actually steering, no one's steering the ship. Someone's just going, no, don't do that. Don't do it. Right. Similar to a great video of a Tesla with full driving that came out this week, in which the guy's like, look, man, I don't even have to drive. And like 4 or 5 times,
in the middle of talking about it,
he has to like grab the wheel because it tries to kill people.
3 times in the it was that fucking Jesus Christ.
Yeah, like he's like, oh,
downhill in San Francisco.
Oh, what was it? It's like, you don't need mapping, you just need vision. And as he is saying
it blows through a stop sign. And then makes a turn and then swerves towards the opposite lane. Yeah, that was fucking scary.
A mom made a fantastic response to that, which is like driving this with auto driving is like being in a Resident Evil 5 QTE situation where non-threatening situations can turn suddenly lethal and you have to hit a button to save yourself at any given time.
QTE real life. Yeah,
and
I
then,
guess so.
Someone else in that thread pointed out that because Elon thinks it's so cool to have a rectangular steering wheel, that when you do have to take control of the car, and you can see it in the video, that he misses the wheel at one point
grab the wheel
because
itself.
It doesn't go all the way around.
Boy. Yeah. I mean, shit. Just last night I was doing sweet burnouts in a parking lot, trying to get the hang of how this whole thing works. No, I wasn't doing burnouts, but I was actually like doing a little bit of driving practice, and yeah, I just like, the things that I want are the things where it goes beep beep beep, and those 2 cars in front of you are about to hit each other. And
also, cruise control was a nice invention. Just make it easier on your foot.
Yeah, that's nice too. You know, terrifying Fucking terrifying. Yeah. Okay.
AI is the future.
I wanted to also update to one of the stories we talked about last week as well. So, as we all know, being a KOTOR fan is suffering. However, there's been an update that is basically after the report from Giant Bomb, where the KOTOR remake has been completely dead, super double dead. No one's working on it at all. Jason Schreier reached out to speak to Saber, who were working on it after they took over from Aspire, and he says, based on two sources at Saber, there are still people on it. Can't say anything beyond that, what size or scope or so, but there are he got two sources that are at the company that's saying they're still working on the game.
So I have two things to say about that. No, three things. One, I don't believe that. Two, the fiscal quarter runs from October 1st to December 31st. And three, that sometimes you get to work on a game for months after it's been canceled above you. They just don't tell you.
That I can believe in. Life support, I can believe in life support team. You know, I can definitely. That's possible too. But I only bring this up because we're getting conflicting reports from the inside.
I'll believe it when I see anything.
And that's the rule, isn't it?
Because currently all that exists of that is the trailers got pulled because of a music license issue that makes no sense.
Yeah, we don't live in a world where like the just some fan project gets together and fucking spruces that original thing up to look incredible, but there are a ton of mods that you can use to make the game look pretty good for when it came out, at the very least. It's just I'm like, hey, it took setup and work, but we were able to play KOTOR, and then I was able to play KOTOR plus the expanded content on my computer with a bunch of fudgery and bullshit going, so it can be experienced. It's not completely a wash, but as far as official support and remakes and all that goes, yeah, I could believe a life support situation. So anyway, let's take some letters.
Hey, if you want to send in a letter, send a letter to castlesuperbeastmail@gmail.com. That's castlesuperbeastmail@gmail.com. Keep your questions short, and we're more likely to answer them. Like the following email that Wooly is going to read, that is brief and concise.
Hello, Leonard Church says...
hi. Fuck, it's Leonard! No! Oh, he got an email in! Oh my god!
Uh-oh. Should I be worried? What's going on?
Let's just. I don't feel like
14.
It. Don't worry. No, don't.
Okay.
Let's just keep going. Let's see what Leonard has to say.
All right. Well, hello, Asterian's girlfriend's husband and Wooly. Sorry, no funny name for you. What, in your opinion, are some of the best gimmick levels? Like, for example, Cause and Effect from Titanfall 2. Obviously, the one we can't say here.
Fucking name of the level is Effect and Cause.
Like, also, what do you think are some of the worst gimmick levels? Yeah, Effect and Cause, number one, right? That's
fantastic.
You took it off the list because,
We Sing from Alan Wake 2. It's
Okay.
my number one right now.
Okay. So, I mean, my shit's going back, but if you ever played Kirby Superstar, there's one boss in that, Battle Windows, where you fight an RPG boss in a series of different desktop windows with stats and things that attack you, and you're still playing Kirby, but it's an RPG fight. It's one of my favorite fucking ever. Battle windows from Kirby.
If I had to pick a worst, I would just say, listen, man, if I wanted to play Space Harrier, I'll just fucking play Space Harrier.
Yeah, I guess since it comes to mind recently from Pizza Tower, Peter Puppy in Earthworm Jim was pretty fucking horrendous as far as escort missions go.
Hard, man.
Horrendous.
For Pete's sake.
For Pete's sake.
Was the first of those levels.
And then
it was tough.
And then the Bungie levels, like, I like the idea of a Bungie fight, but then they didn't work properly, you know? But like Earthworm Jim had a bunch of like gimmick change-ups from stage to stage, and some worked better than others. Meanwhile, Sparkster and Rocket Knight's Adventures, both games, if I'm not mistaken, had a ton of like switch-ups as well. And like
absolutely, Rocket Knight has side-scrolling shmup levels, and it also has a Rock'em Sock'em Robot sequence that is really good.
Mm-hmm. Riding on the back of the ostrich, speed running down the highway, you know. Yeah, definitely those come to mind. But Battle Windows is one of my favorites ever, for sure. Effect and Cause.
Effect and Cause.
Done and done. We got one coming in from Incubus says, "Hey, Willie and Pat. What are some of your favorite in-game animations? For context, I love when developers go the extra mile to idle or motion-based animations, like Sonic looking at the player if they don't start moving as the timer goes down, Crash Bandicoot pulling out a console if nothing's happening. Or to get more specific, I like the way that Cole and the detectives in L.A. Noire do a little sway dance down the stairs if you tilt the stick instead of running down. Sometimes these little animations make the world they inhabit feel slightly more alive." Absolutely agreed.
Karlak's little idle dance.
The Karlak jig! The Karlak jig! Yeah. There she is! Hell yeah. Absolutely love the Karlak jig. Then, you know, I think so appropriately of this week, Pizza Tower is kind of just nothing but this. Mm-hmm. It is overflowing with idle animations of random bullshit. I can barely even remember one of them, but there's so many when you're just standing around or when you're taunting. You know, he does all these references with the taunts as well. Akuma poses, JoJo poses, and all kinds of goofy shit. Breakdancing. Nonstop there.
Chai's run cycle.
Chai's fucking run cycle. Absolutely.
A plus.
Yo, I got my Hi-Fi Rush vinyl in the mail today. Those things are finally mailing out. Super nice cover on that. If you're a collector, get one. The Alucard 180 animation in Symphony of the Night.
Mm-hmm.
Turning around slowly, right? Like the lean into the full whip, and then the cape flips out. Like, that is one of the greatest fucking little detailed things. Doesn't need to be that way, but they done it. Mm-hmm. And in similar effect, actually, K-Dash in KOF, going from standing facing forward to when you're idle with him to putting his hand down to just kind of staring at you.
Yeah.
Establishing his attitude as like a kind of quiet, sullen ass broody dude. And then when he starts walking backwards, he just completely turns his back to you and walks away. Like that particular combination of idle animations on him look fucking great. So much style, yeah.
Can't think of anything I like better than Chai's goddamn running animation. It's the first thing they got ready for the game. I don't know if you saw the work in progress stuff for for Hi-Fi Rush. Even when it was gray box, that animation was in place.
When it was called Project Hibiki.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Biken. Biken walking towards you. God tier. Perfect. No notes. Okay. Let's see. We got one coming in from... here, let's take this. Dreadbot says, "Dear CSB, in light of last week's full-throated hard R drops, saved a couple jobs possibly, I don't know, but
I could just like I spoke to Wooly like you gotta put a fucking thing up because
everyone was like Wooly would never. Why would you? Yeah,
like okay, first of all, don't play this podcast out loud at work. You're stupid.
Bad idea.
Okay, we say all sorts of stupid shit all the time.
But I appreciate the clarification here because they're like, when would Wooly ever put one of these up front? And the answer is, I fucking wouldn't.
Yeah. But I'm just like, because the way that conversation went, I could just imagine it sounded like bruh, 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 like to passerby, and then silence, and then you, and then somebody go, what the fuck? What are you listening to, Johnson?
So Pat messaged me going, hey, can you maybe just put some things so that people don't get fired? And I was like, okay. Sure, fine. But also, what the fuck? Don't you know your lesson by now? What are we doing here?
Okay, two things you need to do. Not listen to this podcast in public.
Don't do it.
Without headphones. And don't eat during the week's portion of the podcast. Don't be eating food. You don't know what we were going to talk about.
It's rolling dice.
Because Wooly, every month, there's one time when we're talking about our fucking colostomy bag nightmare or whatever the fuck it is.
Yep.
And somebody goes, "Oh God, I'm eating." I'm like, that's your mistake. That's.
Anyway, so in light of all of that, I'd like to know what your favorite fake slurs are in fiction. I have a soft spot for the term beater from Sword Art Online because of how much weight they put on a silly word. A longtime listener from first-time writer from Dreadbot. This has a definitive answer, and I'm covering it currently with Sacred and Terrible Air. But the world of Disco Elysium, bar none. It to me, the way you hear like Koiko's, Kip's, fucking loincloths. The absolute
that's not new. People have said that for sure in the real world.
I haven't heard it. I haven't encountered that. That Krenel was the first time I caught that shit. And the way the venom with which it's delivered, the mechanism that it comes out through is just so filled with bile that like you feel it every time, Koiko in particular is used with such just like it's casual sometimes, but it's hateful other times, and like some of the moments in Sacred and Terrible Air, like there's one in particular that just fucking hit, man, where like you really are going into a world of like, yeah, no, these are storied words that mean something to the people that live in this world, and like we're not just gonna use it as like window dressing. It fucking it cuts, man. Fake words that fucking cut. I don't think I felt that from any other slur.
I have sent you an image. I've sent you an image in your Discord. To those of you who are unaware, the image I just sent Wooly is that of Garrick and Ducat in Star Trek Deep Space Nine, to which one Chief O'Brien would describe them as spoonheads. And it is said with your fucking whole chest in that fucking show.
I mean, that one's just extremely similar to reality, though. Like, that's... Yeah. Okay.
Like when you hear a character in Star Trek call somebody a spoonhead, they are spitting it out of their mouth.
Damn, man. I feel like Star Trek could be full of something heads, based on all the forehead shapes and sizes that Gene Roddenberry has designed.
Yeah. But no. That's my takeaway. Easy.
Okay. And you know what? Shout outs to Sonic fucking Werewolf, where I believe Spagos was coined.
Yeah. Well, that's, you guys created that. That's different. That's not actually present.
No, it's not.
Oh, you know what?
All. And
I want to give a shout out to Knife Ears from anything that involves elves.
Knife Ears is good.
And also what I really like, and this cracks me up, is in Beast Wars, made by Canadians, they included the swear / like term slag, which is like a kind of mean thing to say in British English, actually.
Yeah. They were using slag as like a scrap metal term, right? But it actually is a British fucking curse. Yeah, that's true.
Like, it's really weird.
And you know what? Lest we forget our own copyright trademarked, the Queebs.
The Queebs! Woo!
Come from Quebec.
I'm a queeb.
If you're from Quebec, you fucking
That's
fucking
my word.
queeb.
You can't say it. I remember, Wooly, you came up with that, by the way. You get all the credit. Because we were sitting around and you said something the fucking Queebs. And I went, what? And then it was silent for a second. And I'm like, that's great. That's great.
You know exactly what I meant. You know exactly what I meant. No explanation necessary. That's your best. That's the best kind right there.